Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's Murph, it's Sam Crow, and we have 300 miles of American Motorsports Association Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series action for you tonight, live from the heart of stock car racing. It's the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Sam, I don't think you could get a more appropriate venue for a Memorial Day stock car race, at least, could you?
It's synonymous, really, when it comes to stock car racing. Is by all rights. Welcome back to North Carolina. We just had some brilliant racing at North Wilkesboro, and now here we are in the heart of NASCAR country. Which some would argue that between Daytona and Charlotte, but there's no question that this is where the teams are. This is where a lot of the heartbeat of the organization thrives, and this is a beautiful, beautiful place to spend Memorial Day weekend. Charlotte is a great town.
You know, I have never been to Charlotte for a Memorial Day weekend or for Memorial Day weekend affair, and I don't believe I probably will, but I do enjoy watching it on TV after the main event is over in Indianapolis. This track has an interesting history, Sam. It's almost as interesting as the sport itself. It was originally built by none other than Curtis Turner back in, 1960, was it?
You know, right. It was the late 50s when the project actually kicked off, and then later it was Curtis Turner and some other investors that had gotten involved with getting it built and getting it operational. So yeah, it has a lot of history here in the Charlotte area.
It does. So Curtis Turner, Bruton Smith were the original owners of the place. They lost control of the Speedway. It was actually at one point administered by a bankruptcy trustee, but then in the late 1970s, Bruton Smith regained control of Charlotte, and it became the cornerstone of the company that we now know as SMI. So they own Bristol, Atlanta, Nashville. Texas.
The list goes on and on. Kentucky, they
Sonoma,
own Kentucky, New Hampshire,
Wilkesboro.
they do.
They own.
And Marcus, the son of Bruton, actually is. He was a very avid part of the revival of North Wilkesboro. I mean, I know Junior had a lot to do with that, but Marcus Smith actually really was so heavily involved. He was out there with a weed eater and cleaning equipment. He was just as much involved with getting that track going again as it was anyone.
Yeah, and that's always awesome to see the guy that owns the joint out helping clean it up and being.
I agree with that statement.
Hands-on and involved. It's it's a mirror image. And I know that we're at a NASCAR race, but it's a mirror image of the president of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Doug Bowles, who in the COVID year, when nobody was allowed in the track, there's a little gap in the Speedway grandstands where you can kind of look through and see about 100 yards of the track. There's a Jumbotron right there, and several thousand people gathered in that parking lot to just see a glimpse of the Indianapolis 500. Doug Bowles left his suite, went out and stood with the fans in the parking lot.
That's really cool.
And that very much strikes me as the kind of guy that Marcus Smith is. But this is Charlotte. This is the place that we're at now. This is a 2008 scan, is it, or 28? It's 2018, right?
2018.
2018. So the track has changed quite a bit from.
And they're getting ready to do another scan.
Yeah, as you can tell, this track has changed quite a bit from what you may have seen in the past. The grandstands do not go all the way around turn number 2. There are none on the back stretch anymore. There is a giant TV screen, which will, I'm sure, be in the next iteration of iRacing. This, like many NASCAR tracks, has shed some seats over time, and you can kind of tell it if you look down in turns 3 and 4. You can see the infrastructure for the bleachers there, but the bleachers, but the bleachers are no longer. They've kept the suites.
That is a fan area now.
Yeah, and I get it. But there's so many things that this track pioneered. For example, the condos in turn number 2. That's something that has been replicated at Charlotte in Texas, or excuse me, Atlanta in Texas. But that was
Atlanta in Texas.
That was the first. That was first done here. Same with the Speedway Club. Those glassed-in suites that you see all along the front stretch. That was first done here at Charlotte, and people thought that they were nuts when they did that. The glassed-in section of the grandstand mirrors something that first occurred at the Ontario Motor Speedway, the Speedway Club, where you basically have club seats at a racetrack. That had only been ever done once before. And when they did it at Charlotte, the track that pioneered it had just been torn down. So all sorts of interesting things have been done for the first time here at Charlotte. You can see the road course, the Roval in the infield. All sorts of stuff. They've got a dirt track out here. You can see it laid out. You see it laid out in the parking lot of the aerial shot.
Right, and there's the 4 wide drag strip as well over there.
Yeah, that's wild to me to see a drag race with 4 wide. Sam,
it's pretty intense. If you've ever been to a NHRA event, it's pretty intense just with 2. But you better have some hearing implements if you want to go to the 4 wides.
I have not ever been to a drag race, although I suppose there's
a nitro virgin.
I suppose I should make a trip down to the U.S. Nationals at some point. It's good to see.
I can't believe that's really surprising to me that you've never been to a U.S. Nationals that close. That's just really surprising to me.
I've never been. It's over Labor Day, so the U.S. Nats are always over the Labor Day weekend, and so because of that, it's a 3-day weekend for me. Obviously, professional obligations and so forth. My busy season at work is generally from now to Labor Day, and so by the time that holiday hits, one, I'm ready for a nap, and the other bit is, it's sometimes we spend that time. Sometimes we get on a jet and go to the beach. Matty Wagner actually, always the nerd that he is, wants to know how many configurations of the road course there have been. The answer is 5.
That sounds right. I was going to Charlotte Motor Speedway back in the early days of the Can-Am races that raced through the infield. That was some of the first iterations of a road course that was there, the old Can-Am races. That was incredible for a young boy to go to those races. I was actually at Charlotte Motor Speedway when they would there was no drag strip in the Charlotte region. The closest one was an 1/8 mile in a little town called Shuffletown, and then you had to go to Darlington to get to a 1/4 mile. But they actually had drag races down the pit lane at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and I remember going to the drag races down at the Speedway for those particular events. I've been to this venue for so many different things: car shows, drag races, Can-Am races, legends races, dirt races. It's just there's just so many things. I do find it interesting though that you have so much history in Indiana where you're at, and of course the pageantry and the just the sheer brilliance of the Indy 500, really probably the greatest race spectacle in racing. And then of course here Memorial Day, the World 600 means so much to stock car racers, at being the longest event on the schedule. So it's just, I like the perspective that we have here.
I do too, and there have been so many cool things that have happened. You mentioned pageantry. Wasn't it here that Humpy Wheeler staged the fake invasion of Grenada?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that was Humpy was. That's where he got his claim to fame, was the pre-race shows. Buses jumping other buses, the staged attack for the Grenadan invasion. There's just motorcycle jumps. Just his broad mind for the flair of entertainment has been nothing short of just amazing.
Yeah, and
he's sorely missed.
I do enjoy listening to old interviews of Humpy Wheeler. Maybe not quite Joey Chitwood, but pretty close. We are done with practice, and we're going to get headed to qualifying. Ryan O'Donohue sets the pace in practice. That's such a shocker to you, Sam, that Ryan O'Donohue would be the fastest in practice. And because he is the fastest man in Charlotte right now. We will ride on board with Ryan O'Donoghue when he goes to get his qualifying run.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think we should do that. You know what else is interesting, Sam? We just had the Indy 500 happen in iRacing. 2 weeks of Indianapolis. Numerous times. There are some people.
Is the rumor true that you ended one on your lid?
That is not a rumor. That is a fact. I had the let's see, 2 Saturdays ago, in the second split in the second largest split of the week. I had the lead going into turn 3 on lap 200, and I made it. My day ended in the short chute, upside down. So
wow,
that was a bit heartbreaking. I was still credited with I was still classified 7th somehow, and I don't really know how, Sam, because there was a huge accident behind me, and I guess I slid the furthest upside down. I did not get to. Now I did complete in the Dark Horse race Sunday night. I did complete a lifetime goal of mine where I finished the race upside down. I did not win upside down, but I did cross the start-finish line upside down. And then we came back and had a big day. Had a big day last Sunday, and that's something that'll go down with me for a long time. Somehow managed to avoid the mess, through the right block at the right time, and managed to win the race. And that's being an iRacing Indy 500 top split winner is something that nobody ever be able to take away. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Oh, that's always great to have those kind of memories and milestones.
It is, especially when you beat guys like Wagner. He was in that race, so he says I owe him. He says I owe him a beer. I'm pretty sure that at the Sim Gaming Expo that our good friend George is putting on in September, that Wags is just going to follow me around demanding beer for 3 days. If Kyle Heath shows up, I'll even give him a beer.
Listen, that's a lot better than begging for money.
What's the saying?
Of course, it doesn't. It depends on how much he drinks.
What's the saying goes? Keep your friends close and your beer closer, because those guys will steal all your beer.
The tally could be a lot. Now they're going to have some special events here tonight, aren't they? Mark?
Yeah, we are. So once qualifying is done, Ryan O'Donoghue has not yet. We've got the camera on him. I guess he's stage frightful because he has not yet shown up. So we're going to show Greg Evans instead. There's Greg in the number 2 Sim Magic machine, and Greg is, like everybody else, sporting a very special paint scheme, red, white, and blue on Sim Magic on the deuce. Here he is, and we're going to show the inputs. Here goes Greg Evans.
This track's going to be a little demanding here in full sun, and so this particular car will be a little loose coming off the corners. The drivers will have to really pay close attention to wheel input and throttle input as they're going to be navigating as much as they can. The first lap will probably be a burn lap for a lot of these guys. I have known many guys that can really drive a loose race car and pull out fast laps on the first lap. But as we see, Greg just turned to 30.7 for his first lap, and he's still under speed, so he's going to try and beat that. In this kind of heat, where we see the track temp at 107, it just depends on the racer himself and how well he can handle a loose race car on that first lap. But Greg's a veteran, and so I'm sure that he's going to probably start in the top 5 easily.
Here he comes, Greg Evans. He's going to come down and complete his qualifying run. Greg Evans, the time 35.56.
That's a blistering lap.
That is half a mile an hour faster than the old narc brain Logan Edwards, who was on provisional pole. And Logan Edwards is a handy bit quicker than Kyle Heath in third. But Greg Evans out-qualifies the field by a 10th. That's incredible.
That's fast. And with the track temp that way, that's fast.
It most certainly is fast. And so, we mentioned that there's going to be some additional festivities today. We're going to leave the qualifying board up just a moment. John Hutchins will be along for a the traditional AMA invocation, and then from there we will have a moment of silence, and then we'll go to the grid. The cars will be held, and so we're going to go ahead and bring John in for today's invocation. John, thank you so much for joining us. Take it away, my good man.
Well, gracious and Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you, Lord, to be able to come together in a spirit of competition. Lord Heavenly Father, upon this day that we honor those fallen, those men and women that have fought to defend us, those men and women that have fought and died in their service of protecting us here at home. Lord, we lift their families up to you today to give them peace and understanding. We honor them upon this day. And Lord, we thank you for all things, but most of all, we thank you for the gift of your Son who died upon the cross and paid the debt for our sins. We love you and we thank you. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. And at this time, we would like to take a pause, 10-second moment of silence to honor those that have fallen in the line of service.
And thank you so much, John, for those beautiful words. That is John Hutchins, regular AMA competitor, with today's invocation and moment of silence. And that leaves us with one thing to do, Sam. Drivers to their cars. We're gonna have a race, and we do want to echo everything that John just said. Our thanks to those that have fallen in service of our country.
What a heartfelt prayer. That was beautiful.
Yes, it was. But there is business to be done, Sam. Greg Evans.
Now there's about 30 other prayers going on in the cockpits of all these cars.
There is indeed. Greg Evans, he's going to start from the pole. His prayer is, don't run me over. 171.204. The speed for Greg Evans. He'll have the narc brain. Logan Edwards starts his outside. Kyle Heath, Dylan Godness, they're going to roll off on row 2. Brian Wasserman, Troy Carricker are going to be in row 3. Kendall Paul, Brian Sharp, they're going to start 7th and 8th. How about Corey Crandall and Jason Heaney? They're going to go 9th and 10th. In 11th, Rick Fowles, 12th. Lee Campbell, David Dunwoody, he is back. The bowling is over, Sam. No bowling tonight for Dunwoody. He's going to try to avoid bowling the 28 into the fence.
Someone needs to tell him that these are race cars, not bowling pins. He doesn't have to knock any of these over.
Well, as long as he didn't drop the bowling ball on his foot, we'll be in good shape. Keith Graham is going to be 14th. Nolan Milnes, Braden Langley, Sean Merriman, Michael Moquin, Caleb Jones, and Joseph Klein. They're going to round out the front 20. In 21st, we've got Jeffrey Hyatt. Justin Osterman is 22nd. Michael Kirk, Donald Green, Mark Owlett will round out the top 25. No times recorded for Ryan O'Donohue, James Hodgson, Colby Pierce, and Ted Craven. They will start in the back. 29 cars took time, Sam. You ready?
What a great field. What a great field tonight. I'm jacked about this. I'm really excited about a good race and just all these drivers that are here. I'm excited. I really am. I've looked forward to the broadcast tonight. This is just a fun venue to run at. I had told you before we ever got into the booth tonight that I wished I was running in this race.
You know, Sam, of all the stock car tracks and all the ovals that are very similar, this Atlanta, Texas, Kansas, Chicago, I tend to like this one the most. It's the one quad oval, D-shaped oval, however you want to say it, that has probably the most character. And we're going to see who can test that character tonight and come away with a win.
Oh, and a big bump already. Oh, they're checking
up. Brian Sharp.
Oh, no.
Brian Sharp sideways on the start.
What? I don't know what happened there with Logan Edwards. I don't know if he missed a shift or there is no caution on the Speedway.
No.
All the cars that were involved.
No, and there were several involved. We're going to get the replay going here on on the start. Here it is. We're going to look
Yeah,
at it.
I don't know what happened with Logan Edwards, but then Dylan Godinez got into the back of him. He checked up incredibly a good bit, and then everyone behind them just started dominoing after that.
Yeah, there you see the concertina effect on the top line. It finally bites. It finally bites Jason Heaney and Brian Sharp. Sharp gets turned left into the 35 of Corey Crandall. They spin down to the inside. The 0-3 involved. You're going to have others scoot past.
The 10 of Rick Fallis, who is new here tonight. He actually just went to the bottom to get out of the fray. Now we have caution on the Speedway.
Yeah,
and we see several cars on the apron going into pit road.
Well,
that's Sean Merriman.
You've got the caution is going to be for Sean Merriman and Brian Sharp. They're going down into turn number 3.
Oh, and Brian gets loose. Sean has nowhere to go. Brian gets loose on the top side, and Sean just has nowhere to go.
Yeah, there goes Brian Sharp. He goes around. He's going to be collected by Sean Merriman.
Wow, this is just not the start that I expected tonight.
No, and let's hope that we can
set this one behind us. That a lot of the guys will be able to preserve a decent restart here. And I don't know. I didn't look to see. Brian Sharp is still on the pit lane, as well as Caleb Jones.
Yeah, it's going to be lengthy repair. Caleb Jones has been in his box for a minute 30, and that indicates he actually had to tow. Brian Sharp has been under repair for 35 seconds and counting. We are going to probably get, my guess is, Sam, we're going to get the one to go here within the next, we should get the one to go this time by, so we'll see if Sharp is able to, he arrived into the pit lane under his own power, so we'll see if Brian Sharp can get out of pit lane. We're going to see other cars come in. That's Jason Heaney, the 44.
Heaney's made the comment that he needs to get repairs from the initial start incident. He has damage from that. He's wanting to get repaired.
Yeah,
Brian Sharp does beat the pace car off of pit lane.
Michael Kirk is also on the pit lane, and he got himself a black flag too fast on entry. And so already calamity here in the first 5 laps of the Stars and Stripes 300 in the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series.
I'm floored. I'm just floored. It just really caught me off guard. I had no idea that would be the start of this event.
Yeah, it's definitely not what we were.
Especially a 200 lap race. You know, you think guys are just want to get settled in.
You would indeed. Now, there are stages here in the AMA, so we're going to have stage cautions at lap 45 and lap 90. The distance tonight, 200 laps. We did not cover it in the pre-race, Sam, but there are 5 sets of tires in the pit lane and 1 on the car. Prior pole and race winner here, there's only been 1, and that both of those went to David Dunwoody. And so Dunwoody not involved in the earlier fracas, and he's already up to 8th. We're also with him.
So much going on at that on the initial stars. I could see where some drivers could make up some positions and be able to take advantage of that. But of course, it's at the demise of a half a dozen or more cars that were involved. Hopefully, not being under speed, that you would hope that most of the damage is very, very fixable. Even the incident with Sean Merriman and Brian Sharp, I would think. The one that got the most damage out of that would have been Sean Merriman, who hit the inside retaining wall. But I think all of it's repairable.
Yeah. Well, you've got Brian Sharp Michael Kirk has received the black flag. He is still on pit lane and has been in his box for almost 2 minutes. Brian Sharp did lose a lap, but he has taken 60 seconds of repair. Merriman, Heaney, Hodgson, Campbell, Fallis, and Ted Craven all did take repair. And I got to call out Rick Fallis because Rick D, he's sporting an interesting paint scheme tonight. That is the Marty Robbins special.
It sure is.
Right there, race fans.
Yes, sir.
Country music artist who ran NASCAR races. most famously on the super speedways. He ran the charcuterie in yellow, the purple and yellow scheme, just like that one. And so,
yes, sir.
Love seeing.
I actually painted that car.
The Marty Robbins car, or the one that Rick's driving?
The one that Rick Fallis is driving tonight. I actually painted that car. I'm probably old enough to have painted Marty Robbins' car.
Next, you're going to tell me you were singing on stage with Marty Robbins.
But Rick is I know his car is showing 03 tonight, but he was able to get into the event. He's actually scoring number 10 on the scoring chart as we go under green again, and Greg Evans gets a big jump. And now they're stacking up a little bit again back midfield, and they're able to save it here, and no one's worse for wear. So we're back under green, Mark.
Yes, we are. Everybody is safely through turns 1 and 2. We're going to get on to the backstretch. Greg Evans stretching out the lead. Meanwhile, just to give you an update on Michael Kirk, he is still under the black flag on the pit lane, over 3 minutes.
That's interesting.
Greg Evans now is starting to draw away. The battle, though, is between Godinez and Logan Edwards. That's 3rd and 4th. And then we've got other cars. That's Nolan Milnes, Kendall Paul. Let's see. 73 is... Or is that Kendall there in the 78?
79. We don't have a 73 in the field tonight.
78. Okay.
78. 78 is Kendall.
He changed his paint scheme on me, fans, and I can't tell what... I can't
there
tell
are some new paint schemes tonight.
Yes, there are. Meanwhile, Joseph Klein and... it's Ryan O'Donoghue and Braden Langley. They're going to go side by side. Look at O'Donoghue power up on that outside. Meanwhile, we've got another car in the wall that appears to be...
it's Corey Crandall. Crandall.
He stuffs the outside wall coming off of turn 4.
Wow.
And that's something that you're going to see throughout this evening. We're going to get on board and ride with Ryan O'Donoghue, but you're going to see cars all over that outside wall. O'Donoghue started this race last. He's already up to 14th spot. He's past half the field.
Right. Yeah, there's Charlotte and Dover share a very large similarity in the fact that the turn 4 wall actually comes at you.
Yes, it does.
You don't go to it. It comes to you.
Well, and what I said earlier about this track having character and how it's so much different than most of its mile and a half brothers and sisters is this track is 1 lane more narrow. So it is the narrowest of the mile and a halves. It is also by far the bumpiest. There's the famed Humpy's Hump down in turn 1. Yeah, that's if you hit that thing, we run Indy cars here. If you hit that thing wrong in an open wheel car, it just turn you loose.
Well, I'm sure in an Indy car it probably grabs the skid plate.
Yeah, it wants to just turn you straight left if you hit it wrong.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So you actively drive around that thing in an open wheel car. It's also unique in that in turns 2 and 4, instead of climbing into and out of the banking, you fall out of the banking when you come onto the straightaways here. And so late in runs, your car tends to get extremely light coming off the corners. It's not as bad in turn 2, but it's almost like going down an elevator if you're on the top line coming out of turn number 4. And it can really turn you loose bad off of there on old tires. You got to be careful for that. And I know that everybody that's watching this race is going to say, hey, when they get to the front straight, Sam, that's just easy. You just go through there and cock the wheel a little bit. That is...
they've never driven a stock car then.
No. Well, they've never driven the track, period. So on old tires, the car will get extremely light going through that quad oval. It is very easy to spin that thing out. In the open wheel cars, we actually have to use negative weight jacker, make negative weight jacker adjustments, change anti-roll bars.
Has finally gotten off the pit lane.
Yeah, he is. He's 8 laps down though, 6 minutes on that stop. But to finish my thought, we have to actually.
Oh, and we have a new leader.
We do.
Kyle Heath is taking the lead from Greg Evans.
You know, I feel like we've seen this movie before. Do want to add that? I feel like we've seen this movie before. It's maybe a different chapter, but the verse is awfully close to the same. And I don't think we've heard the last of the song. Sam, do want to point out Ryan O'Donoghue. He had surgery last week. The one-arm bandit is back, Sam.
And guess what he's doing? He's showing once again that he doesn't need two hands. He's actually handicapping the field by driving one arm.
I'll tell you what, if I could drive as good with both arms as he could with one, I might actually have a shot someday, Sam. This guy is tearing through the field one-handed.
I mean, he's up to ninth. He's up to ninth and still moving.
Yes, he does. Kind of settling in. 16 laps complete. Kyle Heath is your leader. Greg Evans second. Dylan Godden is third. Logan Edwards, he's fourth. Brian Wasserman rounds out your top five. Troy Carricker, Joseph Klein. How about a good run for Joseph Klein? He is seventh. Nolan Milnes, eighth. David Dunwoody is up to ninth, and there's that crew. Milnes, Dunwoody, and Justin Osterman is in 10th. Ryan O'Donohue is now 12th because Keith Graham has navigated past him. Kendale Paul is 13th in the 78. There he is. Corey Crandall and
I wonder if Ryan just used up a lot of tire there in order to get up through the field. Now it's coming back to haunt him. Something had to happen. He got up to ninth.
Well, it could be. It could be various. It could be various things. This is a track that does chew tires up, isn't it?
Actually, the tire wear on this particular track has been pretty good. It just depends, like any race where how hard you're going to push the car, how much wheel input you're putting in there to force more wear on the right front, and then of course, if you're trying to on your drive off of turn 4 and turn 2, like we were talking about, the variations of elevation can really use a lot of right rear tire, so you can burn the rear tires off of it quickly as well.
Yeah, and notice Ryan O'Donohue is one of the few that has adopted that top line. He's in the he's trying to make like Harry Gant around here, and we know that does burn. It could burn the right front or right rear a little bit more depending on how you drive it, and so do keep an eye on that. But
congratulations to Harry Gant too for making the Hall of Fame.
He still looks like he's 35, Sam. That man,
Listen, he just lives 45 minutes from my house. He does. He does.
He's got to be in his 80s, isn't he?
You can still go by and see him out there on his John Deere cutting his grass. I mean, he does. The man, he just doesn't age.
No, I saw the picture of Harry Gant being inducted in the Hall of Fame the other day, and I said he still looks the same as he did when he climbed out of the Skull Bandit after winning 4 in a row in September of '91. He looks exactly the same, and he's got to be in his 80s, isn't he?
Easily, yeah. Yep.
He's still handsome though. That is handsome.
He's actually 80. He's 85 years old.
That is a handsome man right there, Harry Gant. Run it high, wide, and handsome, right?
I'm going to tell you, I don't know. Really, as far as drivers go, he was so loved in the Carolinas. As much as he would get as much of a pop as Dale Sr. as anyone. You could always count on it, Charlotte. Bill Connell calling the qualifying session for any of the Cup races, and the three drivers that got the loudest pop were Dale Earnhardt Sr., Bill Elliott, and Harry Gant.
Yeah,
Harry Gant always got a big pop.
Of course, Harry Gant famously quipped that he was a good race car driver, but a great carpenter. Is he still putting roofs on houses just because he can, Sam, or did he finally get that out?
As good as he looks, he probably is still able to do so.
Probably the only guy that can wheel an Oldsmobile to a Winston Cup win and put a roof on his house if needed. That would be Harry Gant. We're watching Troy Carricker. He's backed off the battle from Brian Wasserman, but you do in the frame have Nolan Milnes, Joseph Klein, Justin Osterman, 7th, 8th, 9th, and David Dunwoody is lurking for 10th. Yeah, it's about the best one on the track. You've got Dylan Godnez Dylan Godnez is in traffic. That's third place. Greg Evans and Kyle Heath. Sam, it's almost like they're playing with each other. they are. There's the distance. They have been mirror driving. They have been mirroring laps now for the last 10 or so.
The thing that I've appreciated about Kyle and Greg and their rivalry here in the AMA is, I think both these drivers want to learn from the other. I think that they know that they have a competitor that has the speed and the talent that each of them possess.
Yeah.
And because it is there, they kind of feed on that energy. And so I do appreciate the healthiness of how these two drivers go about learning what each one's doing, how they do it. And they're not afraid to get in behind the other and follow for a while. As we found out from Kyle Heath earlier in the year, they're not afraid to take a gamble and come in with fresh tires.
Whoa, he's in the wall.
Run. Ooh, oh, he did catch the wall, and now Evan's going to close in. So I think these two drivers really show a healthy way of approach. If you get into the sim, just learn from the people around you, learn from people that are fast, and learn how you can get better. And as fast as these two guys are, and as many as championships and wins as they have, they are still in learning mode. And so I do appreciate that about both these drivers.
Oh, absolutely, Sam. I mean, that's something. There's Kyle Heath. My goodness, he gets loose coming off the corner. Greg Evans slaps the wall. They're learning, but they're going fast too. There's always something that every driver can learn anytime you strap one of these things in. Strap in one of these things. I learn something every time I'm behind the wheel. I know you're the same. Do want to give a huge shout out, by the way, to all of the people in the audience, Sam. It is a big crowd one more time tonight. We've got Birdie in here, Justin Kirby. Do want to give a shout out to him for showing up. Of course, Matty Wags.
Mike Rigney's back.
Yeah, Matty Wags and Mike Rigney holding down stools watching the AMA.
Yep.
We could say something about rows of people on stools, but I don't think that song is appropriate this evening.
Oh, and to answer your question, Mike Rigney, yes, Rick Fallis is in the 03 tonight, but he is being scored as the number 10. He was a late race entry, and so we're going to try and work on getting the file updated on his car.
I'm going to tell you what, if he gets up here, I'm going to make him sing a Marty Robbins song.
Rick is a superb guy. He actually is not far from you. He lives in Noblesville, Indiana. I've raced with Rick for quite a few years. He's an insurance person who works for Health Markets. He actually, too, is sponsoring an ARCA car.
Whoa! He goes in Rick D smacks the fence coming off of turn number 4. That's going to let Lee Campbell take the inside line. So move Rick back to 16th. He knows we're talking about him, and so he had to get on the highlight reel. But good avoidance there by Lee Campbell, who took all the way. He took to the grass to get past there, to get past Lee Campbell. Meanwhile, Keith Graham, Corey Crandall, David Dunwoody, they're engaged in a titanic fight for 12th through 14th. They're going to be joined by Lee Campbell here in just a moment.
That's a great race going on right now.
It is, and I'm keeping an eye on Kyle Heath and Greg Evans as well. Greg Evans has now moved just a touch of the stopwatch faster. 32-168 for Heath, 0-61 for Evans the last time through. So Evans is inching by inch, reeling him back in. As you watch Corey Crandall, he's going to get by David Dunwoody. Dunwoody says not so fast. He's going to try to cross him over. We're getting close, Sam, to the first stage. Yeah, 45 laps. So we've only got 12, 13 laps to go. Do we get we get to that?
And these guys are clearly wanting to make sure that they can get the best position for the next restart that they can have. Oh, and Keith Graham and Lee Campbell follows suit. These guys it's getting late in this run, and so are in the middle of the run. So now you see these drivers start to see that wall in turn 2 and turn 4 become more of a factor lap after lap. And Dunwoody is now being passed by Keith Graham. Lee Campbell is looking on the inside, and Rick Fallis looks like he's going to try and follow suit here.
They are indeed, and you were warning about tires and the impact of those, impact of new tires on the race today, Sam. Fast lap for Kyle Heath, 30.546. His last time through, 32.259. And so you can comfortably, if you're going to go 45 laps on a set of tires, expect 2 seconds of fall off through a green flag run. How about that?
That's considerable, but I can assure you that the drivers are not holding back here. This is not the kind of tire wear that you would get at Rockingham or Darlington, where you kind of pace it a little bit slower. At this particular racetrack, you can actually push the car a little more and know that you could, the fall off is going to stay within the maintenance of how you race the race.
Yeah, it's not like Darlington.
Different. It's a different fall off. Yeah,
it's not like Darlington or Rockingham where the car becomes undrivable. It just gets a little slower. Here we're watching Justin Osterman, Brian Wasserman, Troy Character, Justin Osterman, Nolan Milnes, Joseph Klein. It is a 5-car battle royale from 5th through 9th. Character is going to drop underneath Brian Wasserman. He'll take away 5th spot. Justin Osterman is going to try to follow soon.
Some of this action.
He has not. Justin Osterman has never seen a pass he does not want to make, and he'll make it right there on Brian Wasserman.
Nolan Milnes sticks it in there late on that entry.
Yes, he did. So move Milnes up to 7th. Wasserman went from 5th to 8th he went from 5th to 8th in 3 turns, and now he's going to try to come back on Nolan Milnes here.
I think Wasserman was actually saying in the survey that he was going to give some room, but I don't think he expected to be passed and be freight trained by the other cars.
No, and here he goes. Well, right on the roll hoop, roll bar, roll cam, whatever you want to call it, the roof cam. There are not a set of aerodynamic stickers under this one, and so do note that. Shout out to was it Tony Uri Jr. that figured that out? That if you stack the Budweiser stickers in front of the camera.
The stickers.
Yeah, it was
the Uri family. Yeah.
Yeah, they figured out if you stacked 50 Budweiser stickers in front of the camera, it would direct the airflow over the lip of the camera and gain them a pound of drag or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was something minute, but they tried it anyway.
They got.
You have to appreciate Dale Jr.'s download when they talk about these things now. It's very interesting to hear some of the discussions that go on about implementations of engineering feats of drivers and teams over time.
Rule bending.
Well, Junior himself has been an advocate. He says if you're not cheating,
if you ain't cheating, you're not trying. Well, and the one with Darrell Waltrip was hilarious when he talked about all the inventions and different innovations that Junior Johnson had at his disposal. The best one that I've seen of Junior Johnson in a while, though, was somebody picked up a video of Junior Johnson. Dylan Godnez and Logan Edwards are going after it for 3rd. We're gonna follow this. We've got 5 laps to go to the stage. Was Junior Johnson was very warm at Talladega in the early 90s, and so they caught him standing. He was trying to keep cool, and he couldn't figure out a way to do it. So some thoughtful soul brought Junior a block of ice, and he just stood on a block of ice in pit lane for the entire race. That's how he kept cool. Stood on a block of ice.
I was a little disappointed that the whole time that we were broadcasting at North Wilkesboro for the race at North Wilkesboro, that we really just did not talk about Junior Johnson. His shop is just a stone's throw away from that racetrack. And I remember going into that shop years ago, and it was the most unassuming place. It looked like somebody's farm, and they had just stuck a long multi-car garage out beside there.
Yeah.
But there were race cars everywhere, and everyone was so nonchalant. And you could drive up in there and you'd say, "I'm a fan. I just want to look around." And they say, "Yeah, sure, make yourself at home." And then I remember one year, Junior was out there, and this was back during the controversy of him and Flossie getting their divorce and things. And he was standing outside the shop, and I said, "Hey, Junior, you mind if I look around?" And he says, "No, I don't mind if you look around." And he pointed at a building down at the end, and he was very significant about which building he was pointing at. And he said, "You can't go there, son." I said, "Okay, that's fine."
You can't go there. No, I chuckled at that picture because Junior Johnson's standing on the block of ice, and Tim Brewer is in the corner of the shot and looks like he is melting in the Alabama heat. So, but Junior cool in his standing on his block of ice there. The other Nate, how about the other driver from Wilkes County? There is more than one NASCAR champion from Wilkesboro. Who is the other? As we come to get two to go now for the stage. One other NASCAR champion from Wilkes County.
That's a great question. Okay, you got me.
Benny Parsons.
Benny Parsons was from Detroit. He just moved to Wilkes County. He wasn't born and bred. He didn't haul moonshine in Wilkes County. He was from Detroit.
It's his hometown. That's what he lists. Wilkes County, Wilkesboro, North Carolina, North Wilkesboro, North Carolina.
That's funny. I didn't think he was because he was a taxi driver.
Well, he was a cab driver in Detroit at one point.
I had no idea that he was actually born in Wilkes County.
Yeah, he's from Wilkesboro.
That's interesting. So interesting.
Final lap of the stage. Look it up. Final lap of the stage. This is the best battle for position in the top 10. This is Dylan Godnez has third. Logan Edwards wants it. Kyle Heath is going to win the stage. Greg Evans is going to be second. Godnez has P3 from Edwards. Edwards cannot draw close. We're going to flop back. Let's look at Osterman, Milnes, Wasserman, Klein. This knot is going to finish as it were. Troy Carricker is fifth. Milnes sixth. Osterman seventh. Wasserman eighth. Klein ninth. And Kendall Paul is going to round out your top 10. And that is the stage. Whew.
That's the racing I was expecting from the very beginning. I think that the anomaly at the start of the race was just a faux pas, and that these long runs was exactly what I was expecting out of these drivers tonight at this particular venue. And I'm not surprised that we saw a long green flag run right there. And we're apt, if they clear themselves from the next restart, we're apt to see more of this same kind of racing.
We are indeed. We're going to go ahead and bring stage winner. We're going to go ahead and bring stage winner Kyle Heath up here. Kyle, you got Mark and Sam in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
You got me. So just real quick before pit stops, how much fun are you having racing with Greg out there?
Oh man, I'm having fun, but also it's an adrenaline rush, and I'm also scared.
Well, pull in, grab yourself four Mr. Feelgoods, and we'll see you in the second stage. All right, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Kyle, remember this is a 300-mile race. I don't know if the pit stops are going to be long enough for you to make.
Oh, I got to go already.
We'll let Kyle Heath get down to business. We'll put him back in with his teammates. There he goes. But that's Kyle Heath. He is the winner of the stage, and always good to have drivers come up and join us in the booth. The P1 statistician nerd Matt Wagner has confirmed that Benny Parsons was born in Wilkes County, North Carolina, and he also says that he misses Benny in the booth. There are also many buffets around the South that miss Benny Parsons. He was known. Do you remember the segment? Do you remember the segment that they used to have on ESPN where Benny would identify the food
eating establishments?
Yeah, that were around the different
local eateries.
Yeah. Well, then they turned him loose in Sonoma once, and that kind of ended that.
Did he go to the winery?
He did go to the winery.
Or to the vineyard. To the vineyard. Yeah.
He went vineyarding. That ended Benny's buffet, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Greg Evans is going to win the race off of pit road. Dylan Godnez, he makes up a spot. Everybody is going to move forward one more because this man right here, Kyle Heath, well, he had to make a pit stop.
Oh, he wasn't kidding. He was actually serious.
No, he's that's a serious man. Kyle Heath had to make a pit stop of the driver
He's
variety.
A man of his word.
He is.
He said, "I got to go right now."
It is not abnormal for Kyle Heath to do that, and he does it. So there he goes. Greg Evans is your leader. Greg Evans is your leader. Dylan Godnez. Dylan Godden is second. Nolan Milnes, Logan Edwards, Troy Carricker. They're going to round out your top 5. Klein, Wasserman, Crandall, Paul, and Moquin are now the top 10 as we get ready to head back to green flag action.
Since he has Bush as a sponsor on his car, maybe a sub-sponsor needs to be Depends or something. I don't,
Oh, golly. What's the company that, Kohler, is it the company that makes the commodes?
Yeah, Kohler or American Standard.
Yeah. I wonder if he's got a low flow or a high flow commode in there. We could get maybe that episode of King of the Hill. You remember that one? The filibuster.
Next thing you know, we'll be talking about catheters. Let's change subject.
We're not going to go there. But anytime you can work in a Hank Hill filibuster reference in a NASCAR broadcast,
you gotta love Kyle Heath. You just gotta love it.
You do indeed. There's a nerd in the chat that has a story, and so we'll let Wagner tell his story, and then we'll see if we can't repeat it on the air.
Well, Wags is so chatty. Maybe he should have come in the booth and took my place, and I could have run this race.
Well, he's barred from the P1 booth for different reasons. We're going to come back to as a commentator at least. We're coming back to green flag action. They'll let him in the booth over there at Area 51. They won't let him. He's not authorized for P1 commentary. Here's the green flag. Greg Evans has the lead.
Again, a little bit of a slow start for Corey Crandall as there's a big space there that gets opened up and kind of checks up the field. It looks like Lee Campbell's not going to force a 3-wide event there coming off a 2, and now the drivers get single file. Gravely on the outside of Rick Tallis.
Now,
and of course, Justin Osterman sticks it hard on the inside, loses the back of the car. He thinks better of it.
Now, I do want to point out that as we watch this wad of cars come through here, we're going to get focused on Lee Campbell because they're too wide. They look like the start of this race from 12th on back. I do want to point out, just so you're aware, Michael Kirk has run afoul of the officialdom one more time, and he is back with a black flag. He is back with a black flag on the pit lane. Michael Kirk, 7 laps in arrears, penalized one more time here.
Wow, he has really had a time.
Yes, he has.
I was just talking to Michael before the event and just really commending Michael for all their hard work as far as recruitment goes for the AMA and just really singing his praises. I hate to see that he's having a tough night tonight.
Appreciate the break. I had to respond there to Mr. Wagner. Greg Evans still leads it. Kyle Heath, after his driver comfort stop, there's Heath. He has made it back to 15th. He's working his way now around right. He's got Ryan O'Donohue and Keith Graham in front of him, and then immediately in front of them is the 28 of David Dunwoody, who was last year's winner here at Charlotte. And so there is Kyle Heath. Meanwhile, Logan Edwards
wasted no time getting up through the field here.
No, he hasn't. Now Logan Edwards, he's going to go by Greg Evans for the lead. So the old narc brain, he's going to go to the top spot. Greg Evans is going to be second. Dylan Godden is. He's battling for third now with Joseph Klein. Yeah.
We've actually been calling Joseph's name on several occasions tonight. He's showing a lot of speed. And some drivers are very acclimated to this track. I've known some drivers over the years that seem to really struggle at what we call cookie cutters, these mile-and-a-half tracks. But some just have an affinity for this place. They have a feel for it, and they're fast. And that could very well be what we're seeing with Joseph. Joseph's a good racer, but sometimes the track fits the driver, and that may be one of those cases for him tonight.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And there he goes. He is hanging tough on the outside around Dylan Godden. As a matter of fact, he's going to pull a little bit. He might pull clear of Godden. Going down the backstretch, he's going to get a good suck from Greg Evans going through there, and he'll complete the pass Move Joseph Klein to third, and he's going to start working over Greg Evans for second.
This is as tight as the racing has been up front tonight. They're nose to tail from second all the way to eighth. This is good for the beginning of a run. You'll find out quickly though which drivers are saving tire and which aren't.
Yes, you will. Last time we kind of noticed, Sam, that Kyle Heath pulled away. Greg Evans reeled him back in at the end. Is Greg saving tires? That would be my guess. He would be noted for that.
Oh, wow. Justin Osterman really pushing the issue.
Whoa!
He gets into him. Milner saved the car. Unbelievably saves the car. Justin Osterman was such in a hurry right there, and he was really pushing the issue.
Yes, he was. We're going to get
what a fine save by Nolan Milnes. Big shout out for that. And now he's going to be driving up to the rear of the 53, and we'll see if he just shares his disapproval. But
yeah, here's Nolan.
There he goes. There he goes, right into the back of Osterman, and now they've just exchanged their pleasantries. Now hopefully the drivers will
they're exchanging more than pleasantries.
Milnes is not done. Milnes is not done.
No, if Justin Osterman is still pointed straight much longer, I would be extremely surprised. We were going to go back and show it, but the beating and banging continued. So discretion, the better part of valor. There.
Round two.
We'll try to get back and show round two. We saw round one. Nolan Milnes needs to drop back, cool his tires off, and I am sure with the speed in the number one that he will be back toward the 53 in due course. Were there pleasantries exchanged over the radio, Sam, or just
Actually, there was no comments made in the race server, none whatsoever. Someone else had made a comment that had nothing to do with what we were watching on the racetrack. The drivers were actually just policing themselves, and in all practicality, what Milnes did there was mild in comparison. He shared his disapproval without trashing both cars.
Yeah, and that's something that Justin Kirby says there's going to be some angry right rears shortly. I don't disagree with you. Although for me it was always the right front around here that I seem to when there's a roof over my head that I seem to hurt, not the right rear. But we'll see. Do want to give a call down on the weather because it is starting to significantly cool. It's 80 degrees in the air, 94 on the track. Puff of wind out of the south-southwest, 5 to 6 miles an hour. So those are the track conditions here, Sam. Really?
Oh, the track conditions have really got into a perfect race condition, in my opinion. And as the sun continues to go down, the track temp will drop off, and we'll get a lot more grip, and the tire wear will lessen up, and the drivers will be a little bit more aggressive in how they approach their long runs. We're a little single file now. We're not seeing too much racing outside of James Hodgson going on the inside of Dylan Godinez.
Well, it's Troy Carricker actually, but he did go to the inside.
Troy Carricker?
Yeah, he did make that move. Osterman has very wisely gotten further up the road from Nolan Milnes. Milnes, he's going to try to work to the outside of Brian Wasserman here. Thinks better of it through turn number 2, and so Nolan Milnes, after that exchange with Osterman, dropped from 5th to 8th. He's trying to get around Wasserman, and I think he's got the tires cooled off now, and he can start to work his way forward again. We know.
Yeah, after that last contact in the tri-oval, you were mentioning it before the race when we were talking about the driving and how the characteristics of the car, where he decided to share a little bit of information with Justin Osterman in that particular part of the racetrack in the tri-oval. The car gets extremely light, and he received he took a lot of air off that front end, so he had to really get out of the gas when they made contact, and that's how he lost those positions. Of course, the tires are angry at him too, but he's starting to work his way back up.
Yeah, and it's going to take some time, right? This is not
because our next caution will be at lap 90.
Right, that is the next scheduled caution.
Right.
That is the next. Let's caveat that. That is the next scheduled caution. We're gonna.
Thank you for the qualification. Absolutely. Thank you for the qualification.
We're gonna flip back up
here. We can't make those kind of predictions, folks.
No.
We just can't. No crystal balls here. The only clairvoyance we had was Milnes wasn't happy, and he was going to let somebody know.
And sure enough, it happened. Get Sam Crow. He'll be here all week to write your horoscopes and future predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Joseph Klein is your leader. Logan Edwards second. Greg Evans is third. Justin Osterman's made it to fourth. Troy Carricker is fifth, and Dylan Godinez is sixth. Nolan Milnes has made it back to seventh, so he's gotten around Brian Wasserman in eighth. Michael Moquin has moved to ninth, and on the back of them, well, that's Kyle Heath. He's come back to 10th. Kendall Paul 11th. Ryan O'Donohue 12th. Keith Graham 13th. Jason Heaney 14th. David Dunwoody has dropped back to 15th. Lee Campbell, Rick Fallis, Braden Langley, Donald Green, Mark Owlett. You're going to round out your top 20. Brian Sharp back on the lead lap. Ted Craven 22nd. James Hodgson 23rd. Corey Crandall 24th. Those are all the lead lap cars. Sean Merriman 2 down in 25th. Michael Kirk back on the speedway. He is 9 laps down after 2 penalties in 26th. Michael Moquin is
unbelievable.
Michael Moquin's going to make a dive, looking to make it a dive on Brian Wasserman there. This is 8th and 9th.
Now we're getting ready to have a battle really heat up here for the lead. We were really bragging on Joseph Klein, who made his way to the front after he got around Evans. He made his way quickly around Logan Edwards, and so he's in front. But Greg Evans has decided that he's waited long enough, and so he's got it up here into the mix with Logan Edwards as Edwards goes all the way to the wall, and he'll be making a big run coming off of turn 4 here.
That is
and
so.
Joseph Klein's fine with this. If they want to race side by side, that's fine with him. That's just more laps in clean air for him.
Yeah, there's Edwards. He's going to let Greg Evans go, slide in front of him. Meanwhile, the fight is about to be on now for the lead. You've got Greg Evans hunting down Joseph Klein. Evans definitely saving the tires early on in this run. There are 20 laps to go here for the stage, and Evans has decided it's time to light the fire in the deuce and get to the lead and start putting some distance, I would imagine, between excuse me.
He and Kyle Heath.
Yeah, Heath has made it
settled in an intense position here.
Maybe he's
There's a battle going on in front of him. I mean, he's probably just being smart as Wasserman and Moquin are fighting it out here for 8th and 9th, and Kyle's just probably biding time and saving tires here so that they can work it out among themselves and he can make his pass.
Watch how much faster Greg Evans is in the middle of the corner as compared to Joseph Klein. He's got to the top side. They're even Steven on entry, but just watch the middle. Greg Evans just pulls a half a car on Joseph Klein through the middle of the corner, speeds into the lead down to the backstretch. Greg Evans back to the lead. Kyle Heath is now 9th. He has gotten past Wasserman, and we're going to show it because he is almost about ready to pull past Michael Moquin into 8th. They are going past the damage machine of Sean Merriman.
Merriman.
Yeah, just to let you know, Caleb Jones has scored 27th. He dropped out after the first lap accident.
Is that Corey Crandall coming off a pit lane there? Did he have damage? Or?
It is Corey Crandall. He had just a normal pit stop, Sam, 14.1 in the box.
Interesting. I wonder if he has some kind of inclination for making up some space here before the next caution.
Well, that does put you a lap down.
Well, he is a lap down, correct.
He's lost a lap.
And I don't think that he has enough laps to catch the leaders.
I take that back. He lost 2 laps.
He's 2 laps, yeah.
Yeah.
He saw the same thing you did.
Yeah, so he's 2 laps to drift. I don't know about that. I do know that Kyle Heath is going to drop it to the inside of Michael Moquin, and he should be going past at any time. There goes Heath to the bottom. Moquin keeps it up top. Thank you very much, says Mr. Heath. And he's going to go to 8th spot. So he's got some...
We're going to have Kyle Heath pull the car into the scales after the race because apparently it's probably 16 to 20 ounces lighter than it should be.
Back to the battle from 4th to 7th. This is Troy Carricker. He's going to drop underneath Justin Osterman. Now, Osterman was quick to get up there, but he might have burned off those Goodyears because Troy Carricker is dropping to the bottom. Osterman looks awfully slick, and Dylan Godinez, Osterman in the wall.
Osterman's in the wall.
Osterman is in the wall.
And he'll lose 2 spots here
And now
he's got a very
what? We're not done.
ripping on the
Character
backstretch.
hard in the inside wall.
No caution, no caution. He's off the racing surface.
I would show the replay, Sam, but I do not want to back away because because Justin Osterman and Nolan Milnes are about to be in direct contact. Yeah.
I don't think Dylan Godinez is going to be pulling over very easily here. Dylan Godinez is a hard racer. He's clean, but he's hard. And so I don't know that he'll be pulling over for Nolan Milnes here. And Milnes would probably serve himself better just to get in line and follow Dylan through here. And it looks like they're going to sort that out. He doesn't want to get the tires too hot, especially with about 14 laps left in this stint before the competition caution. That's just good racing by Milnes, and so we're certainly not happy about Wasserman's demise as he got into the wall on the backstretch. Was it Wasserman? Or was it Troy Carricker that got into the wall back there? And now Dylan Godinez closes in on Justin Osterman, and Nolan Milnes is following him very closely. And behind them, Corey Crandall is coming with those 4 fresh Goodyears, and Kyle Heath, who has proved to be fast on the long run, he's going to be a part of this mix as well. Corey Crandall taking advantage of the fresh tires on the high side.
Now,
Nolan Milnes gives him plenty of room.
Now, what does that do? You know, you're these guys, Sam. You're racing along. You're racing along for position. And you've got a guy that came in.
You look at the relative.
Yeah, I mean, well, and
and Crandall's in the wall hard off the 4.
Yeah, he bounces off. He's up there. He's on fresh tires. He's bouncing off the wall. Ben Summerford said, "Yeah, your sum's wrong there, Sam." By the end of the race, Kyle's car will weigh 16 ounces times 3 or 4 heavier. It's not lighter; it's heavier. So maybe it's a weight penalty. Either way, he has caught Nolan Milnes. Now, there are team dynamics in play here, too. Milnes and Heath, same team. Dylan Godinez, not same team. Osterman, not same team. Also, Dylan Godinez does not appear to be happy with Justin Osterman. Also, here goes Milnes.
Oh,
we're going to make this 3 wide.
His best revenge is to get by him. That really, honestly, that's his best revenge. He doesn't have to hit him. He just has to get by him.
Well, Osterman's clearly made somebody angry because I think all 3 of those cars hit him when they passed him. The rear bumper on the Mustang, the 53 Mustang, is caved in on the back of that thing. Kyle Heath has now made his way past, so move Heath to 6th, Osterman to 7th, Godinez 5th, Milnes 4th, and that's pretty much it. Here's Greg Evans. You look off at his back end, and that's the distance back to Joseph Klein.
And in direct communication to Ben Summerford, we'll have to wait till the end of the race and see how many more pit stops that Kyle Heath has to make before we argue if it's heavier or lighter.
The great AMA debates. Here comes Here comes Troy Crandall.
He's just added a whole new dimension to the broadcast.
Yes, he has.
Dylan Godinez on the inside of Milnes now.
Yes, indeed.
They're still fighting this out.
Well, it's stage points, and so you've got Kyle Heath coming. You've got the stage is up in 8 more laps. These guys would like to score points if they could. You see, they're not probably going to catch Logan Edwards. He's pretty far up there. Joseph Klein and Greg Evans are they're in different zip codes than each other, and they're in different zip codes than everybody else. But from 3rd on back, it's very much, I don't think they're going to get to Edwards, but 4th place points in a stage is better than 6th. And so, why not have the disagreement over who's going to get those points? Kyle Heath is going to point it to the bottom of Nolan Milnes. He'll grab 5th position and set his sights on Dylan Godinez in 4th. Just to point out the tire difference, Sam, Corey Crandall came in 12 laps ago. He is a second quicker than the leaders still.
Well, I was concerned whether he would have enough laps to catch the leaders, but he proved that he had more than enough speed to catch the leaders and get one of his laps back. So that does put him as the lucky dog. It will put him in the lucky dog position here when the caution comes out on lap 90.
I'm sorry, Sam. We continue to have the chat.
I see what Summerford's up to, and I knew exactly what he was saying.
The intake may be greater than the outflow in that 13. So we will keep an eye on the number 13 of Kyle Heath as he navigates the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Heath has gone past Milnes and absolutely blown that battle wide open. He and Godness have pulled over half a second away from Nolan Milnes, and those two are right together, and it almost appears to be just a matter of time before Kyle Heath gets by Dylan Godness as well, and they are catching Logan Edwards at a dizzying rate. Edwards at one point was over a second ahead of this battle. That's been cut in half as we've got 5 laps to go in the stage 4 this time.
Well, Kyle Heath steadily over this run, Kyle Heath has been steadily and incrementally, even through traffic, he's been cutting into the gap between he and Greg Evans. And so Kyle Heath has got a great long run car here. And with each lap, he is getting closer and closer in time differential to the leader. I'm not surprised that he's catching these top 3 with Dylan Godness. So it's just Kyle Heath has proved he can ride shotgun, but he's going to get to the front if he can.
Yeah, here he is. He's looking for any way that he can find to get by Dylan Godness. That's Joseph Klein. So Edwards has passed Klein now. Severe fall off on that number 7 for Joseph Klein. Heath is going to put it to the top side here, coming off of turn number 2.
Oh, he's got a great run, but no, Joseph Klein will be there. He can't make that run work to his advantage with Joseph Klein there, and they'll both make it around Klein as they move into the 3rd and 4th spots.
Yeah, Klein's tires are absolutely gone. Last lap through for Joseph Klein was 0.4 of a second off the pace.
How he catches a part of the wall there.
Yes, he did. Don't know if that was net code or don't know if that was real contact. Either way, Kyle
he
Heath
just brushed it again and won.
I think those are net code contacts, would be my guess there, Sam, because it doesn't seem to affect him. We'll see. I mean, can he get to Dylan Godness? He's been there a couple of times, but he's only got one more lap to do it.
Yeah, there's really no point in trying to push the issue here at this point.
There is
just finish out the stage and get fresh tires.
Yeah, and so there goes Kyle Heath. One more time looking at the back of Dylan Godness. It's going to be Greg Evans, though, and all Greg Evans. Better than 2 seconds over Logan Edwards. Dylan Godness 3 seconds in arrears. He's going to hold off, it appears, Kyle Heath for 4th. Joseph Klein trying to hang on to 5th place in the stage. Here's Greg Evans to win the stage. He'll come across the line, and I'm interested to see if Klein can hold off Milnes. Milnes has the run on the outside, and he cannot get there. So Joseph Klein, with no grip, is going to finish 4th. There's the caution. How about Ryan O'Donohue? He moved up to 8th in the stage. Wasserman finishes 9th, and David Dunwoody, the Magic Man, he'll bring it home in the final points-paying spot in 10th.
Whew. That was Troy Carricker that was involved in that backstretch incident where it careened off the backstretch wall and went down to the inside toward the infield wall, and there was no caution there. And so the result of that is Troy Carricker being 15 laps down and dealing with a damaged race car as he continues to sit on the pit lane.
He does, and you know, good work from Carricker to keep from bringing out the yellow, keep the thing clean and green. It's got to be disappointing as he sits 16 laps down on pit lane. A tough end of the day for Troy Carricker. I'm fairly certain that car is done. I saw the black smoke come out of it when he hit. So,
yeah, these cars are very sensitive to front end damage. If you hit square on the nose on any of the walls here, it can be significant to the motor for the Xfinity car. The damage model with the trucks is pretty sensitive, but the nose of this car is extremely sensitive.
Yes, it is. We are going to see Corey Crandall get his lap back. He'll take the wave around, and so he will be back on the lead lap. Meanwhile,
Actually, Troy Carragher is now, he's actually making a comment within our chat.
Once after the bumper and it's over.
That incident, he says his night is done.
Well, Troy, we thank you for being a part of the AMA, and we hope to see you next week. That's a tough break. Involved in an incident not of your own making. Everybody streams off of pit road. Greg Evans still leads it from Dylan Godden as Kyle Heath passed Logan Edwards on pit road, and so move Heath up to third, Edwards to fourth. Joseph Klein is going to hold down fifth here at Charlotte. Do want to thank all of the sponsors here in the American Motorsport Association: Archway Industrial Coatings, Admin Box, Track Racer, Rogue Energy Drink, and of course the title sponsor, Black Magic Studios. Give a call now to David Dunwoody, Brian Sharp. Get you a paint worth 2/10. That's Black Magic Studios, Facebook or Discord. They'll thank you. 93 of 200 complete here in the AMA Black Magic Studios Grand National Series from Charlotte. Mark Murphy, Sam Crow on the call. Greg Evans is your leader from Dylan Godden. We're getting ready for this last stage, Sam. It's going to be 105 laps, and so how would you approach this if you were sitting there, if you were sitting in the seat trying to figure out a way to chase down Greg Evans? How would you approach it?
It's usually the same. If you're up front, you want to just try and stay out front as long as you can. Typically, the fast guys will stay out there and just keep making laps as long as they can to get the most out of that last set of tires. If you're mid-pack or somewhere 10th or in that area, cutting this run in half and then trying to have two adequate runs could help you maybe make up some positions. Someone may short pit and get the most out of a tank too. So it just depends on where you're at in the running order at the start of this particular part of the event, and where you're at the 40 lap mark. So let's say somewhere around lap 135, 140. You're probably you very well will see people start making decisions whether they want to pit or not, and then maybe cut the run in half and then do it that way. We may have another caution, but it's just hard to say. There's so many factors that still have to be played out here at Charlotte as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing.
Yeah, here we go. Barney's got the green flag in his hand. Now it's waving. 94 of 200 complete here in the Black Magic 94 complete, working lap 95 in the Black Magic Studios Grand National Series event from Charlotte. It is the Stars and Stripes 300 in the AMA Black Magic Studios Grand National Series. Greg Evans gets the drop. He's going to go hard into the lead. We're watching from the grandstands, and he's got Kyle Heath right there in seconds. That didn't take long, did it, Sam?
No, and that's why I kind of felt like Kyle wasn't in a hurry to make that pass late before the stage break, just simply because he knew he'd be starting behind Greg Evans anyway. He could get a better start on the restart by following him off the line and firing off when Greg fired off. So it just didn't make sense that he would try and make up one position with 2 laps to go.
It does indeed. Watching the battle for the front four, they are right on top of each other, so there's no getting away like there was earlier. Nearest battle is Michael Moquin. He's going to drop to the inside of Nolan Milnes. Moquin has the inside. Let's see if he can make the pass stick for 6th. He does indeed. So move Michael Moquin in the 8 to 6. We're going to demote Nolan Milnes to 7th.
Oh, and he gets into the wall. Michael Moquin hits the turn 2 wall hard.
Now, and here comes Nolan Milnes. He's going to try to challenge, but the two men that are going to gain the most out of that's going to be Ryan O'Donohue in 8th, David Dunwoody in 9th. They are coming as well. Moquin, he's going to swing it to the inside of Logan Edwards. He's going to go for 5th.
Well, no, wall damage or not, Moquin's decided he just doesn't want to stay there. And we found early in the season, Michael Moquin He's kind of tamed himself down in some of the racing that he's had recently, but early in the season, he was not afraid to be very aggressive and try and make up some spots. But it seems like he's become way more cerebral and calculated in his racing, and it's really proved to look good for him.
It has.
But again, he catches the wall again. That's very surprising.
I mean, he was the winner of the first race of the season at Daytona, Michael
Correct.
Moquin. And so he
Sure
punched.
was.
Yeah, he punched his ticket to the playoff a long time ago. Has not visited victory lane since. That honor has more or less swapped between Greg Evans and Kyle Heath ever since. Edwin James, Kendall Paul, Dylan Godnez, and Corey Crandall have also shared the honor. But Evans has won 1, 2, 3, 4. Kyle Heath,
5 events.
5 events. Kyle Heath has won a couple, and so they have been the two dominant drivers. But Michael Moquin,
they are actually locked into the playoffs. This is the cutoff race. And so they are locked into the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Already. And then I'm trying to find my score sheet. There was something too that needed to be. Yes. Greg Evans and Kyle Heath are locked in by wins alone. Dylan Godnez, Kendall Paul, Michael Moquin, and Corey Crandall and Edwin James all have 1 win. That pushes Edwin James out of the top 6 qualifying playoff drivers based on points alone. So Michael Moquin and Corey Crandall, actually Corey Crandall and Edwin James, it's a close race there to see who makes that cutoff and qualifies for the playoffs.
It is indeed. Ted Craven, the teddy bear, has been given the black flag, and he is on pit road. So just in case you've got any Ted Craven fans out there, he is on pit lane due to the displeasure of the officialdom. Meanwhile, Michael Moquin has gone around Logan Edwards, move him to 5th. He'll draw a beat on Dylan Godnez. We'll see if Michael Moquin can get to 4th. That 8 is coming.
Considering how much he's flirted with these turn 2 and turn 4 walls, he's still showing a lot of speed, but I wonder how much saving the 2 and the 13 are really putting out here at the beginning of this run. Kyle Heath moves around the outside of Greg Evans here. Now, Joseph Klein's already proved that he wants to be out front.
He has,
so
but he's also proven
trying to make this pass.
He has, but Joseph Klein has also proven that he's going to burn the tires off and go straight to the back at the end of the run. Moke went around the outside of Godnez, so move the 8 to 4th. Meanwhile, Greg Evans, Joseph Klein.
Big push from Moquin to Joseph Klein here down the backstretch. Big push.
Yep. Evans is going to try to draw back in on Kyle Heath, but the racing at the front is starting to get kind of rowdy. It had been processional for the first 100 laps of the event, Sam. I don't think it's going to be processional much more. Also, do note that it is getting darker, and with those darker temps, or darker...
Better traction.
Yeah, that's
faster
more...
speeds.
Yep, track temps down to 89.
Braver drivers.
Yeah, so it's starting to turn into a Saturday night short track special, and the track is getting sticky. 89 degrees. Whoa, Greg Evans, Michael Moquin.
I don't know what happened there. It looked like
one kind of...
It looked like Michael Moquin just caught the right rear of Greg Evans on entry. He actually spoke up in race and apologized, but it looked like he just caught enough of the rear.
Yeah, it slowed everybody.
Evans' car.
Well, and it slowed everybody down just a little bit. That allows Heath and Klein to get away. Evans back to 3rd, and here comes Jason Heaney. We have not called the driver of the Napa number 9. We have not called his name at all. James Hodgson.
All night long.
Yeah, James Hodgson, too fast on the pit road. He had the meatball. He was coming to pit lane, and he has answered that, but he has also got the black flag too fast. We have not called Jason Heaney's name all night long, and here he is. He's driven it to 5th. He's decided
And
it's
keeping pace.
Yeah.
Pace with Dylan Godden this here.
Yeah, he's decided it's time to go. Meanwhile, Michael Moquin, who not so long ago was challenging for the lead, he is just barely in the picture in sixth. He's about to be driven. He's Logan Edwards is trying to drive around him to get back into that top six. And there is a conga line beginning to form behind Michael Moquin.
You can tell that the track temps have really dropped enough that the speeds are picking up for these drivers in this last segment of the race. And so with the cooler temperatures, the drivers are, as we were
Whoa,
just
we got a
saying
car
moment
round in the
ago-
back. It's Kendall Paul, and that's going to bring out a caution. Kendall Paul hard in the wall. Justin Osterman also involved. And what have we got here? They're racing along with Brian Sharp. Thankfully, this time I don't think Sharp hits anything. There's Osterman to the inside of Paul. Osterman's
Gets
going
down to the apron, and then it bounces the car back up enough that he gets into the left rear of Paul, and they make contact again. Oh, and Donald Green is involved in this thing. Donald Green takes front end damage, as does the 54 Michael Kirk, who's already had a really rough night. He also is involved as he careens off of the 53 on the backstretch. Significant damage to Kendall Paul's car. I worry that he may have motor damage as well. There's a lot of smoke pouring out of Justin Osterman's Mustang, so there's significant damage here.
There is indeed. Donald Green has the front end caved in on his car. We're going to go back and I'm going to see if I can't get on the roll bar of Donald Green. Here's what he sees. Across goes Osterman, hits him, and Green just can't. He's trying to get woed up, but he just can't quite get there. And so poor Donald Green, a victim of circumstance. Again, that all started with Justin Osterman getting the apron and then coming back and getting into Kendall Paul. And Kendall Paul is severely damaged, headed down pit lane. He's going to get there. Osterman is likewise going to get to his pit stall, the 54.
Yeah, Green and Osterman actually both hit nose to nose on the backstretch, so I just wonder how much damage is. We see a lot of smoke pouring out of those cars.
No smoke in the 6. There is no more smoke out of the 53. My guess is he's got both of those drivers have those cars shut off. Both of them have the meatball, and they must respect it, as does Braden Langley. Langley has been on pit lane 8 minutes, and so do just want to report on Braden Langley. There he is. Ted Craven, he is in the 88 of James Hodgson. There is smoke coming out of that machine, so he is done.
Yeah, we see Michael Kirk's car actually on the broadcast. If you're watching, you can see he actually has no right front at all.
No hood either.
Yeah.
So here's Osterman and Green, and here they sit. And there's Donald Green. He says he gets out and walks to the infield care center. And I think we just did hear one of the engines blow up. You can kind of hear the crack, the little telltale crack in iRacing, the sound. And so at least one of those engines has blown there. And I don't know if it is Osterman or if it is Donald Green. My guess is, from the reaction, it's probably Donald.
Well, that's certainly added a new twist. If we thought that the racing was furious here on this last restart, then our viewing public needs to hold on, because it's not going to get any less exciting.
No, it's not.
As
Now,
these drivers will push the limit of these tires.
No,
Tires are not an issue here. It's just a matter of when you decide you want to take. You know, there could have been someone that might want to take advantage of getting tires at that particular pit stop and see if they can't make them.
Well, they all did. So everybody on the lead lap came and got new tires. Every single driver. Kendall Paul did make it back out, and he is going to retain his position on the lead lap. Justin Osterman remains in pit lane. Sean Merriman did come and get some additional repair. He is now 2 laps down, and so Merriman stands to benefit now the most if there are additional cautions, because he's going to be the only car circulating that is laps down. We're going to get back in the flag stand from, you know what? Let's watch this one from the blimp. How about that? We'll get in the P1 air
for it. That's a great shot. As the pace car is off, we're in the restart zone starting right now. And Kyle Heath jumps us to another restart here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yes, he does. And you can get an idea of how big of a jump he really gets. That's a great shot from the blimp. You also can kind of see from this shot, Jason Heaney is around on the back. He's going to spin to the inside. Caution is on the speedway.
Can he save it? Yes, just minimal contact to the inside wall there. So Jason Heaney is not going to probably suffer much damage in this particular incident.
There he is, Jason Heaney. He gets it locked down, and that's the biggest thing. He got it locked down early, Sam, so that when he hits here, it's just it's not a huge impact. It's just a kiss.
No, it's not.
It's just a kiss. I mean, he'll have damage for sure, but it's not the race ender that it's been for some of our other competitors this evening. Jason Heaney brings out caution number 4 on the event, I believe, Sam. Caution number 4?
That is correct. And Justin Osterman has now stepped out of the car and gone to the infield care center as well, and he has called it a night.
Mr. Excitement has had enough for the evening. Justin Osterman out of the machine. Donald Green has said he's going to give it up. James Hodgson, we know his car is terminally hurt, as is Michael Kirk. Ted Craven, he remains on pit road. His car the same way. And I don't believe Braden Langley, with his car 12 minutes under repair, is going to be coming back out either. Now, the strategy starts to happen. David Dunwoody is the only car that doesn't have damage to bring his 28 machine onto pit road, and I'm kind of interested to see, Sam, exactly.
Did he take tires?
Well, we're looking now.
Because I think he just probably topped off.
Yeah, he just topped off on gas. Now, Kendall Paul and Jason Heaney are in. They
are probably still working on repairs.
Yeah, well, Heaney was only in for 5 seconds, and so he may not have had much.
As much as he touched that wall, that's probably all it took.
Now, Kendall Paul has much more serious damage. And so my guess is that he's going to be sitting here for as long as he can, and he's probably going to have.
And that damage is probably optional; it's not required, and so he's just trying to make sure that he gets as much optional damage covered as he can under caution.
Yeah, I mean, now's the time to do it for certain sure.
Yes, sir.
It's not. You're never going to get it all the way fixed. Probably, but you get as much as you can. Keep working at it. There he goes. Stay on the lead lap. Stay on the lead lap and just circulate. The next time there's a yellow light that comes on, you can come in and get some more. With 85 laps left to go, it's a good bet, Sam, that we're going to see another one. And so, just keep working on it and, have the thing ready to go for the final shootout here. We've got 114 complete working 115.
There's still a lot of racing left. No, there's a ton of racing left, and you really have to hate it for Jason Heaney, who was so quiet for the majority through the first 2 stages. Jay, we didn't mention Jason Heaney, and then he finally gets up into a place where he can race for the lead, and then of course the unfortunate mishap that he had, losing the back of the car coming off of 2 on that restart. But those restarts are the most precarious times that the car wants to be loose, so it's not unusual, but you just have to hate it for Jason.
You do indeed. We're getting ready to go back to green flag action. Lights are out on the pace car. We do have, by my count, Sam, 18 automobiles on the
I was getting ready to say same thing. Yeah, there's still quite a few drivers out here, and of those 18 drivers, they're all on the lead lap.
Yeah, 18 on the lead lap. Sean Merriman is circulating. He is now 1 lap down. And so his perseverance may yet pay off. Get one
After
more.
that early incident for him, good, really kudos. He gets my hard charger award tonight.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Goodies Headache award. But nonetheless, we'll get back in the blimp to watch the restart here. It's going to be led by Kyle Heath, Greg Evans second. Joseph Klein is...
Big run on the inside. Michael Moakman gets into the back of Milnes here, but he checks up considerably. No one's any worse for wear. I don't think it was anything that would constitute damage or problems. All the drivers are navigating through 1 and 2 here, and they're going to try and sort things out in a better way so that they can get a long run here. 3 wide in the very back as we see Jason King, and they'll clear that. They'll clear that up. He and Kendall Paul.
Now, if you're Kendall Paul, you don't want to put yourself in.
Whoa! Brian Sharp in the wall.
Now, if you're Kendall Paul, you want to kind of start working your way back toward the front, but you don't want to put yourself in a position where you could potentially damage that race car anymore. And give a call out to Rick Fallis. Rick D has made it up to 11th in the Marty Robbins special. There he is. And he's kind of working on closing in.
They're spinning up ahead of him. Oh, and Keith Graham saves it.
Meanwhile,
that allows Fallis to close up quickly.
Yes, it does. Godinez and Logan Edwards, they're going after it for 3rd and 4th. Kyle Heath and Greg Evans trading fast laps at the front. They are all over each other for the lead, but they have drawn over 1.5 seconds clear of this fight, and it's a fight. Meanwhile, let's get back to the front because these two are welded together, Sam.
I'm almost speechless trying to watch what's going on between 3rd and 12th place here. All these drivers are working their skills and their talents as hard as they can to make up positions. They're a little single file, but when you're in these conditions, your mind is always thinking. You're always looking ahead. You're always trying to think of how to pass the next guy in front of you. What's happening with the drivers that are ahead of them? How can you make up the space? Who's driving the high line? What works for you? Can you make it work? It's just there's so many things that go on in your mind other than just hitting the gas pedal and turning left. Keith Graham way up high as Rick Fallis closes in on him.
Yes, indeed. Here's Rick D. He's gonna try to drop it in.
He drove that in deep. He drove that in real deep.
He did, and it messed up the mid corner, and he had to roll out of it. And that's going to give a shot for Corey Crandall to try to pass Rick Fallis. Crandall can't quite get the measure of Rick, and so that will stay the same. Jason Heaney, though, he's working all over Lee Campbell. This is 12th and 13th.
Oh, now we see Nolan Milnes making a move on the inside of Logan Edwards. Michael Moquin is going to follow Milnes and see if he can follow him into turn 3 and make it work for him as well. But Logan Edwards is going to fight very hard on the high side. He's got a good run here. I don't know that Michael Moquin will have the position. Oh, they get extremely close coming off of turn 4.
Yes, they do.
See if Michael drives it in deep here. Not as deep as Logan does. Logan drives it equally as deep.
Well, he's actually probably holding on to the outside like that.
And they make
touch.
contact.
Whew. My goodness sakes.
Logan decides he's going to back out of it a little bit there.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Now Joseph Klein is pushing him.
Now the thing with that is if Moquin drove it deep, to hold even like that, Logan Edwards would have had to have driven it harder. That's going to open up the door for Joseph Klein to say thank you very much. Klein will round up Logan Edwards for 6th, put Moquin to 5th, Edwards to 7th, Klein to 6th. We've got a change for the lead. Greg Evans and Kyle Heath have switched spots. I almost want to say, Sam, that was orchestrated.
I'm telling you, school is in session up front, and these two drivers are feeding off each other. I just feel so strongly that these two competitors are just learning and trying to measure out the other. It's just it's interesting to say the least. Kyle Heath is actually, I don't know how Kyle Heath does it, but he actually is chatting in the server while he's racing. He's not talking; he's typing.
Yeah, no, that's we're gonna go back. Michael Moquin,
what does he
Joseph
do?
Klein.
He must be an octopus. He's driving. He's trying to drive. He's typing. He's making pit stops. He's.
You know who else
on
is
his favorite beverage? What else can Kyle Heath do behind the wheel? There's a bee's nest of racing that's going on even from 10th back. There's so many cars that are trying to make up positions here late in the race, and so these drivers are racing just as hard as they can. Corey Crandall on the outside of Rick Fallis as he closes in on Jason Heaney, and they get back in line on the backstretch. And behind Rick Fallis now will be David Dunwoody as he tries to make his way back up from the rear of the field, where he was actually up front there for a while. These drivers are battling out as hard back here for these positions as the leaders were battling for their positions. It's good racing front to back.
It is indeed. There's the battle that Sam was talking about. Heaney, Graham, Crandall, Rick Fallas, David Dunwoody, Kendall Paul, and Lee Campbell all involved. This is 10th through 16th that you're looking at on the Speedway. Meanwhile, and I hate
Corey Crandall.
but
Oh, it's so close.
here comes Dunwoody. He's going to charge there. I thought he was going to make that 3 wide. You could visibly see the 28 check up to not run in the back of Rick Fallis. I don't think Dunwoody's done here. He's looking for a spot on. He's looking for a spot now on Crandall. Let's see if he can get that done. Ben Summerford, when he grows up, wants to be Kyle Heath. I think we've all kind of felt that way. At one point, trouble on the back. Crandall and Dunwoody.
Turn 3.
Everybody saves it. No caution. Corey Crandall keeps it going.
No caution.
Dunwoody keeps it going. Everybody keeps it going in the right direction. Everybody is safe. Holy Moses.
And Dunwoody immediately gets onto the comms, and he's apologizing, just saying that it's his fault. As he gets into the left rear of Corey Crandall, what amazing driving skills by these guys tonight. No caution. They keep the nose of the cars pointed in the right direction. They've lost a ton of track position, but wow, again, some of the driving here tonight is next to best that you'll ever see. It's really, really skill.
Yeah, that was an incredible save from both of those gentlemen. They keep everything pointed in the right direction. All they'll lose is a little bit of time and a little bit of track position. But the fight that they were in continues to go. Well, here's Ryan O'Donoghue. He's got it to the inside of Logan Edwards now. They'll have at it for 7th and 8th. Edwards all the way up to the top side into the wall. He'll lose a spot for Brian Wasserman.
Yeah. As fast as, Ryan O'Donoghue was our fastest car in practice, if I'm not mistaken.
He was indeed. He was the fastest car in practice. He's moved it up to 7th. Now he's hunting down Michael Moquin for 6th. So let's see if Ryan O'Donoghue can grab a spot. Meanwhile, Donald Green has checked in. He said he tried to miss the 53, but had the brakes locked down, the wheel cut hard, nowhere to go, and it's a tough break for him, but we will see you tomorrow night, Donald, and thank you so much for your support of the AMA Grand National and Truck Series. Matty Wag says he'll see him there. Meanwhile,
Ryan O'Donoghue makes the pass on Michael Moquin.
Yeah, so that's
move him up to the 6th spot. The one-armed bandit is actually added again as he's going to try and close in on Joseph Klein.
Yes, he does.
Now you're probably going to, because of that, the last caution, you're probably going to see now drivers that may be making decisions for a set of tires somewhere in the neighborhood of lap 150 or 160. I would say probably closer to between those two, 155, 160, and cut this run in half and get the most out of the tires that they can. When you have leaders like Evans and Heath who are, comfortably out by a full second, they may stay out a little longer so that their short run will be even faster, and their pit cycle will be a little shorter. But I'll be interested to see when these guys are going to start pitting.
I'll tell you who I think the first two on pit road are going to be. That's going to be Joseph Klein and Michael Moquin. Moquin is now 0.2 of a second off the pace of the leaders and the leader and the cars around him. Joseph Klein has also dropped off the pace. He has fallen into the clutches of Ryan O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue has run him down. O'Donoghue blinks in and out really quick, but O'Donoghue has run him down from
really having some connection issues.
He's run him down from quite a distance away. O'Donoghue is going to challenge Joseph Klein. And it's kind of the same thing that we saw in the first two stages, Sam, where Klein and Moquin were fast at the beginning. They kind of run their stuff out, and they slid backward at the end of a stage. Well, guess what? The stage was at 90. We had 4 or 5 laps of caution. These guys have been out. They came in and made a stop, but they're 25 laps out now on their current set, and it would seem to me that that's about the limit for Klein and Moquin. They're going to start sliding backwards once they get some heat in the tires, and certainly that's the case. Nolan Miltness glances off the wall. Joseph Klein goes to the top. O'Donohue obliges by filling the bottom lane. Here goes Ryan O'Donohue. He's going to bid for the top 5.
Well, I will tell you that Ryan O'Donohue's lap times are just as fast as the top 3 cars. Dylan Godinez, Greg Evans, Kyle Heath are all in the 8, and Ryan O'Donohue's speed is just as fast as theirs.
Yes. Now, Nolan Miltness is the odd man out there. Miltness has dropped into the 32-second bracket. O'Donohue cannot quite get by Klein, though, and he's got to be careful because he doesn't want to burn the tires off on the 14.
Yeah, there's no rush here.
No.
Just continue to run his natural line. If the pass materializes, then you utilize it. But if not, you watch him fall back in here behind Joseph Klein. There's really no reason to push the issue. There's still some laps to race and a lot of racing ahead of all these drivers. Just naturally allow your speed and your tires to work to your advantage. And Joseph Klein, if Joseph is using too much of the car, then it'll show up in the long run.
Yeah, and we're still. I mean, even with that kind of a short pit stop there, 28 laps to go, Sam. I mean, we're still 20 laps yet to go.
Yes, exactly.
At normal, I mean, you may see somebody stop at 150 just to give a short pit. Ryan O'Donohue blinks out just a little bit again. He's gotten to the inside of Joseph Klein, and I got to think eventually running that high line is going to wear the tires on the 7 out. Awfully close to that grass, Ryan O'Donohue. He'll try the bottom one more time.
Klein, if he's smart, Klein will just fall in line right behind O'Donohue here.
There he goes. He did that.
Yep. And that's just good racing. It's just smart.
Yeah, I mean, you're racing, just like Darlington or Rockingham or wherever else. I mean, you're racing the racetrack here just as much as you're racing the other competitors.
Especially under these long green flag conditions, you want to make sure that if you know that you're using up some of your tires and some of the good of the car, if you know that you're losing speed, you don't want to split the throat of this thing. You want to make sure that it's a slow bleed, and so just let the faster guys go and try to maintain a steady pace.
Yes, indeed. We're watching Ryan O'Donohue. He has made up 5 spots here in the third and final stint. We've got 60 laps to go, and we might as well start counting backwards, Sam, toward the end. 60 to go here in the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series Stars and Stripes 300. I do want to thank all of the AMA sponsors, and there is a healthy list. Archway Industrial Coatings, Admin Box, Blackmagic Studios, Track Racer, Rogue Energy. Thank you so very much for your support of the American Motorsports Association.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, sponsors.
Absolutely. Kyle Heath, Greg Evans, they're going to have after it for the lead one more time.
It's so refreshing. I've been involved in online racing for over 20-something years, and it seems like you always have guys in a league that they're just head and shoulders fast. They're the cream of the crop, and in the AMA we have many fast drivers, but then you do have standout talent like Evans and Heath who are incredibly talented at what they do, and now they are really pushing each other. They are two drivers that feed off the energy of other fast drivers. It becomes a challenge for them. And so it's really refreshing to see that it's not just one guy that runs away all the time, but now these two drivers are proving that they're going to test each other and that they're going to work the other for the win.
Yes, indeed. Yes, they are. And they keep working each other. The puffs of smoke, I can guarantee, are a net code, Sam. We've seen so many of them
Yeah, we
with
have
no
seen quite a bit
damage.
of it.
We've seen quite
And
a
Dylan
bit.
Godinez has done a true. I want to do. I don't want to just sing the praises of Evans and Heath because they have been so fast. But Dylan Godinez has done a tremendous job of keeping pace with these two leaders, and the gap that they have put on the field at the beginning of this last restart. Dylan Godinez has steadily just been keeping that gap the same during this run. Now it may fall off or it may get less, and the longer the run goes. But a big shout out to Dylan Godinez for how well he's doing right now.
Right, you are, Sam. Ryan O'Donohue has caught Nolan Millis. He's caught him. He's 2/10 of a lap quicker. Here comes O'Donohue. He's trying to find a way around without burning the tires on that 14. But we're going to see how long it takes him. 56 laps to go here in the Stars and Stripes 300, the AMA Grand National Series. Blackmagic Studios, the title sponsor here. Matty Wagner is exactly right. I am old and slow, and that's why I have been retired, put on a pension, and thrown in the booth because.
Yeah, that's actually what's going to be on his tombstone. Wags is I'm old and slow.
I'm too old and slow to hang with these guys. That's why I'm in the booth. Here comes O'Donohue. He's going to try the bottom. He's wearing out Nolan Millis. I think O'Donohue knows he's probably got the third fastest car here. If he can just get past,
he's pitting.
Yeah,
he's pitting.
Yeah, so there it is. There's the marker. Ryan O'Donohue's laid it down. He said, "Look, I can't."
He's the trendsetter.
Well, I think he realized it was going to be a lot more effort than he wanted to expend to get by Nolan Millis. He looked at it, said, "There's 54 laps to go. I'm going to turn my car into a rocket ship and see if I can't be the leader at the end of the cycle. And then if caution flies, everybody's going to pit anyway."
That started the waterfall. Logan Edwards just announced his pit stop.
Yes, he did. So
and like we thought, we thought there would be takers around lap 150, so we're getting close to that 150 mark.
Here comes Logan Edwards. You're going to have to slow that baby down, buddy. I don't know how, but Logan Edwards
Did he get it? Did he? Oh, he got it.
He got in there without speeding. So Logan Edwards is safely to pit road. So the two trendsetters are going to be Edwards and O'Donohue. O'Donohue is back out. Here he is. He is going to go one lap down. He does not lose the two as that were lost earlier by Corey Crandall, but he does lose one. He's come back out right behind Jason Heaney. This is for position, by the way.
Graham announces his pit entry. And now we see Corey Crandall get a piece of the wall coming out of 4 there as Keith Graham makes his way on the pit lane.
Okay, so we have some data, Sam. You ready?
I'm ready.
Last time through, Ryan O'Donohue, 30.766. Greg Evans, 32.072. Kyle Heath, 32.113. Dylan Godinez, 32.152. Nolan Millis, 255. Joseph Klein, 414. Ryan O'Donohue is absolutely annihilating their pace. If this keeps up, he's going to have a massive lead. He was only a couple of seconds behind Greg Evans and crew.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was 4 seconds behind, if I'm not mistaken, when he pit.
Yeah, so he's already erased that. 50 laps.
Well, he'll catch a lot of that.
Now, there is such a thing as staying out too long. How long do you stay out now if you're these top three, knowing that Ryan O'Donohue has come in and turned the red, white, and blue 14 into an absolute missile? How long do you wait?
I've just learned that a lot of the good racers, they stay out as long as they can. Mark Owlette makes his announcement that he'll be pitting here as well. I've just learned that leaders, when they're fast and they're out front and they're pulling away, or that they steadily have a lead on other cars on equal tires, they will stay out as long as they can. Now, me personally, I don't see any driver staying out more up to lap 165 past that, but they've proved me wrong in the past because some of these drivers think differently than I do.
I think some of them listen to the broadcast and they do exactly the opposite of what we're saying just to make us look silly.
Well, We did say that there would be early takers around lap 150, so we're not entirely wrong. Oh, and we see Kyle Heath with a big charge.
He's got Brian Sharp coming out in front of him, though, and Sharp is going to act like a pick. That's going to slow the roll of Kyle Heath momentarily.
I don't know what happened to Evans there that he slowed down so much.
Well, he had the car coming off a pit lane. Maybe he just kind of wanted to.
I don't know, but that was an incredible closing speed there by Kyle Heath on the backstretch. Mark Allet is making his way off of the pit lane. Kyle Heath, woo! That is incredibly close coming off of turn 2, and he gets on the inside of Greg Evans here.
Well, he was drifting that car around turns 1 and 2. That looked like he was on the dirt track here at. He looked like he was on the dirt track here at Charlotte, not on the asphalt oval. So this is the battle for the lead. Ryan O'Donoghue continues to circulate. O'Donoghue is the last car one lap down, so he's in that lucky dog spot. He's gotten past Jason Heaney, and O'Donoghue is a second and a half a lap faster than the leaders, and he is also going to be the fourth car in line. Yeah,
right behind Dylan Godnez, we see right behind him is Ryan O'Donoghue.
Yeah.
Ryan O'Donoghue was the first one to get fresh tires, and now he is catching the leaders in wholesale fashion right here, and he's going to make a big pass on the outside of Dylan Godnez on the front stretch, and in his front windshield from here on out are the two leaders, Greg Evans and Kyle Heath. He's going to make a pass on these guys in the next lap and get back on the lead lap.
Yes, he is, and this is what I was kind of talking about earlier. Is there a situation where you wait so long that you can't claw it back? Because essentially with O'Donoghue going past here and he's going to make this move, Evans and Heath are going to be a half a lap down by the time it all shakes out. By the time they stop, Heath backs way off because of the move of O'Donoghue. So now O'Donoghue is back on the lead lap. That's going to put Jason Heaney into the lucky dog position. He is ninth, and Heaney is coming hard as well. There he is. He's going to drop underneath Dylan Godnez. I got to believe that as soon as Greg Evans flinches, Heath and Godnez are going to follow suit. It's just, yeah, I mean, I think you can stay out too long, and I think that's a line that Evans and Heath are kind of playing with.
I'm still of the mindset that you really cannot risk hitting past 35 laps to go. You want to make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to catch these cars that are going to be on 15, 16, 17 lap older tires, and give yourself plenty of time to catch them. As we see, O'Donoghue pitted a few seconds behind the leaders on lap 147. Then he comes out and catches them within 10 laps. So by all practical purposes, you could see those lead cars, if they stay out with 35 laps to go, within 10 laps, they can easily catch Ryan O'Donoghue as well. Or that would be the simplest way of thinking in their particular perspective. But they are proving me right in the regard that usually if you're leading this thing, you stay out as long as you possibly can and then come out with the freshest tires at the end of the run.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking the strategy. Heaney now goes past. My apologies for the technical difficulties there. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, if they stay out much longer, they're going to be a lap down when they pit, and that would be disastrous if a yellow comes out, for example.
Oh yeah, there's so many factors that can play into that. You're exactly right.
You know what I mean?
Kyle Heath just announces his pit.
Yep, so Heath is going to come down pit road. That's going to leave Evans and Godnez one more circuit.
I would not be surprised if Greg Evans follows suit right here on the next lap. I don't think that he wants to give Kyle Heath a bunch of laps of fresh tires. I just don't think he does. Oh, Greg Evans just announces his pit. And now the 08 of Dylan Godnez has now announced his pit. Now Nolan Milnes has actually made his call. He's 5 seconds back, but he's made his call for pit lane as well. So now that will pull all the cars back onto level playing ground.
It will indeed. Here's Evans. He's going to make the stop. And here's what I'm going to talk about. We're going to follow the stop, and we're going to see where he comes out with relation to Ryan O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue is going to pass Evans while he sits still in the box. So here's Evans. It's going to take 15 seconds, and then he's going to need to roll out and get up to speed. O'Donoghue.
He's got the best pit stall on pit lane. He can get right into the throttle coming off the low side here as he rolls the center of 1 and 2 on the bottom.
All right, here's Wasserman.
There goes Kyle Heath. Kyle Heath is able to get by him.
Okay.
Oh, and that's a significant gap there by Kyle Heath.
Yes, it is. It is about a second. It's 1.2 seconds to Kyle Heath.
Wow, that's significant.
But I said it right. It's the issue now for Evans is he's half a lap behind. Nolan Milnes too fast on entry.
No, a penalty for Nolan. Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, so too fast on entry, so he will get the dreaded 40
That's a 40-second hold.
Yeah, that's a huge penalty.
That's a race killer.
Yeah, that's a dagger for sure. That's 2 laps down. That'll put him. O'Donoghue, your leader. He is 4.2 seconds clear of Jason Heaney. Logan Edwards has 4 lap fresher tires than Heaney. He is catching Heaney, but the eyes are going to have to be on Evans, Kyle Heath, because they are going to be the cars with the fresh rubber. It's the tortoise and the hare, but now it's reversed. O'Donoghue was the fast guy. Now it's going to be Heath and Evans. It's their turn to see if they can blister the
Corey
field.
Crandall in the wall in 3 and 4.
And there he is. Crandall is going to lose the spot to Greg Evans. He's got Dylan Godinez coming. Greg Evans just set the fastest lap of the race. So the chase is on. Here goes Evans.
He knows that Kyle Heath got a huge space on him on pit stops here, and he has to make this time up. So the best way that you can do that without killing the car is to try and make a few fast laps and then allow the tires to cool off and run sensible laps. And so that's why you see that he's turning hot laps in this particular instance while the tires are still cool. If he can wheel the car while the tires are cool, he can turn a few hot laps, get caught back up to the bumper of Kyle Heath, and then he can follow him and allow those tires to kind of equalize out. So that's why you're seeing these fast speeds from the two.
Yeah, there he goes. I mean, he's almost caught him. These two running around 30.406 the last time for Greg Evans. So we were saying that O'Donoghue was a second and a half a lap faster than Evans. That situation.
And now they're a second and a half lap.
Yeah, now it's been reversed. The issue is, are the tires going to equalize in time for O'Donoghue? And is traffic going to play?
Looking outside of him already. Oh, and he's going to have a big run here.
My goodness gracious!
He decides not to make the move. He's going to fall in line here as they catch Michael Moquin. Moquin wisely just allows the fresher tires to go by.
Look at how much faster Evans is through the middle of the corner.
Incredible. That's incredible.
Watch the middle of the corner. Just watch nothing else. If you don't watch anything else, watch the middle of the corner here from Greg Evans. Kyle Heath.
What a run on the outside.
Now watch. He gets so fast in the middle of the corner.
That is incredible speed through the middle.
Yeah, he just drove around Kyle Heath like he was tied to a post. Moved Greg Evans into fourth. He has lit the. He's lit.
I'm so surprised he made that pass. I am shocked.
Yeah, he's lit the fuse and he is gone.
Well, as they used to accuse Dick Trickle when he had good races of throwing the cigarette butt out the window, apparently Greg Evans has extinguished his cigarette and decided to put both hands on the wheel.
I thought it was
insane.
I thought it was Pearson that did that.
Oh, there were several drivers, but Trickle was synonymous with that.
So I'm gonna give you a piece of, since it's Memorial Day weekend, right? The two big races, Charlotte and Indianapolis. I am going to give you a piece of Indianapolis trivia along that point. So the great Jimmy Bryan, national champion, Indianapolis winner, race of two worlds at Monza winner. He won on the Monza Oval in a roadster, if any of our iRacing fans want to fathom that. But Jimmy Bryan was the driver for the was the driver for the Dean Van Lines team in the 1950s. That was a car that had been driven, was later driven by Eddie Sachs, and then Mario Andretti inherited it from Sachs. But Jimmy Bryan in the late 50s was given the opportunity to drive a car called the Blonde Exhaust Special. It had been driven the year before by Sam Hanks, who very famously and very tearfully retired in victory lane at Indianapolis. Jimmy Bryan was offered the winning car from the year before, which was the first laydown roadster. He accepted on one condition, Sam. You know what the one condition was?
And what was that?
George Sally had to sew 3 leather loops into the upholstery to hold Jimmy Bryan's cigars.
Cigars. Oh, I knew that was coming.
So Jimmy Bryan raced with a Cuban cigar between his lips. That was his way of combating the dryness of mouth that those drivers used to get back in those days. Other drivers sucked on lemons. Richard Petty famously had a towel, if you recall, Sam. But that was
recall that.
Yeah, that was Jimmy Bryan's way, as he chewed on a cigar during the race, and he had loops, leather loops sewn in to hold his cigars. If you go into the Speedway Museum today and you look at the Blonde Exhaust Special, 3 cigar loops right side of the cockpit to hold cigars, and occasionally around Jimmy Bryan's around his birthday, the museum will put cigars in the loops. How about that?
Well, that's an interesting twist. I wasn't expecting that.
Occasionally you'll see the car if it's near his birthday or the anniversary of his death. He was killed at Langhorne, Pennsylvania. You'll occasionally see the car around those 2 dates with cigars in the loops. How about that?
Now, what we're seeing here with Greg Evans, he's closed the gap on Ryan O'Donoghue. Now he's within 2 seconds of Ryan O'Donoghue, and he and Kyle Heath are catching. But if you watch the orientation of Greg's car now, he is, because he pushed his car awfully hard there at the beginning of this run.
Yeah.
You can tell that he's getting a little tight coming off of turn 4, and so the car's wanting to push up toward the wall a little bit more than what Kyle Heath. And now Kyle Heath was able to run because he was able to gap Evans there at the beginning of the run. Maybe he was able to save a little bit more tire, and he is slowly, incrementally catching Greg Evans here in the closing stages of this race. Now we see Greg Evans catching Keith Graham, and Keith Graham is telling them both to take the bottom in 3 and 4, and right ahead of them is Ryan O'Donoghue.
And Keith Graham slams the wall.
He really gave him the bottom.
He really gave him the bottom.
And
the
here
other
comes
thing
Kyle
is,
Heath.
Yeah,
Kyle Heath is closing the gap. That's a big close right there.
We've got all 3 leaders in contact. Ryan O'Donoghue is saying, "Hey, how about a yellow?" That would be terrific for Ryan O'Donoghue. What Greg Evans is saying is, "Here, kitty, 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 kitty." He is coming, hauling the. He is hauling it. I thought maybe
Kyle Heath is saying, "Hey, y'all, watch this."
Well, to be fair, I've been in races with Kyle Heath where he has said,
Keith Graham in the wall again in 3 and 4.
I've been in races with Kyle Heath where he said, "Hey, y'all, watch this." So that's not too far-fetched.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it one bit.
He is all over the back of Greg Evans, and that's kind of what Ryan O'Donoghue wants to see. He wants to see Evans and Heath get to fighting, because the longer this goes, the more it favors him. Although I don't see a scenario where Ryan O'Donoghue is going to be able to hold the lead for very long here. He will not. Greg Evans powers the outside. Kyle Heath is going to follow.
Keith Graham's had too much interactions with the wall. He's actually announced another pit stop.
Well, if you hit the cement too many times, it'll do that, Sam. You have to come in.
Sometimes you can push a car so hard that you can get the meatball flag for a right front tire.
He does not have that, but it is possible that he's just cooked it so much that he's got to come down and change it. And so Kyle Heath has gone to the lead on Greg Evans. That may be temporary, though, because here comes the deuce. He's going to fire it off on the inside. He's going to try to retake that lead. 21 laps remain.
I don't think either one of these drivers will leave anything on the racetrack.
No. I don't think so.
I think both these drivers are going to push the other all the way to the end if they have the opportunity to do so. Greg Evans has proved he can run this middle line. Kyle Heath is cerebrally, it looks like he's really tried to save tire for this particular run.
Ryan O'Donoghue has a ringside seat. We're watching off of his roof.
Ryan O'Donoghue has the oldest tires on the field right now, but still maintains great speed, and he's doing a great job of sticking close to the leaders.
He does. Now, Dylan Godinez is going to get by him, but then once that happens, I think he's in good shape to hold on to fourth probably. Logan Edwards is running slower lap times than O'Donoghue is. Wasserman is, 7 seconds behind O'Donoghue, and so I think he's going to wind up with a net gain out of that. But the battle is for the lead here. It's Greg Evans, Kyle in the lead now. Kyle Heath is second. Evans is going to run that middle groove. Heath all the way on the bottom.
He's going to force Kyle Heath. If he's going to make the pass, he's going to have to do it low, and he's going to have to use a lot of tire to do it.
Oh, for certain, sure. And Greg Evans is going to try to save as much as possible. He's going to run just fast enough to stay in the lead.
And
the other thing is
Greg Evans is actually doing some traffic control here. He's talking to the lap car, Brian Sharp, trying to make sure that he doesn't become a factor here as the leaders are closing in the final laps of this race. We're under 20 to go, under 15 actually.
He's telling
under 20.
He's telling Brian Sharp that the 2 car is in fact not a tree. Please do not hit it. So here we are. They're going to catch Sharp, and I would assume that Sharp, being the good sport that he is, will let the leaders go and have after it. In terms of what's after Brian, the answer is not much. You've got a full straightaway or more up to the next car, Sam.
Sharp is going to keep it on the bottom, which is what Evans had requested, if he would just keep it on the bottom for them as they were making their way. And now Kyle Heath, first time we've seen Kyle Heath flirting with the wall up at the top.
Yes, he is, and look, I mean, he's going to have to make something. He's going to have to make something happen.
He's going to have to be creative here. Yeah, he's going to have to be creative. He's going to have to find a line and a drive off that's going to work for him. But this is easily, it's not his first rodeo. I'm sure that he's thinking through these things as well.
No, that's an AMA champion. That's a former Firecracker 400 qualifier. That's not a guy that's a guy that's been around the block. And,
yeah, they have completely checked out on Ryan O'Donoghue, and now Dylan Godinez is easily going to be making a move on O'Donoghue here.
For certain, sure. There you see it in the background. We're going to flip back to it. Here's the final spot on the podium. Dylan Godinez goes to the inside. O'Donoghue does not fight it, and I think that's going to be probably the last change for position within the top 3 or within the top 5.
Well, we just saw Rick Fallis actually make the pass to move into 9th place as he drove around Michael Moquin. Rick Fallis was one of the last 5 cars to pit for fresh tires, so he could make up a little bit of ground within these last 15 laps.
He could. Now, he's 3 seconds behind Joseph Klein. Klein actually has 3-lap fresher tires than Fallis does. So Fallis is on 30-lap rubber, Klein 27, Lee Campbell 37. But within that top 5, it's
Fallis is turning laps 0.2 faster.
Yeah. Well, within the top 5 though, it's 6 seconds almost back to Logan Edwards, and Edwards is on on roughly the same tires.
Yeah, he pitted right behind Ryan O'Donoghue. That's correct.
They're on roughly the same tires. So and then it's another big gap back to like Lee Campbell and stuff. So I don't think that O'Donoghue is in any danger. He'll just run out the string and finish 4th. And that was a huge gain for Ryan O'Donoghue to do that. Matty Wagner
and Logan Edwards are going at it here, door to door off of turn 4 as they're fighting for the 5th position.
They are indeed, and there they are. We have some disagreement as to how many tires can be taken in an open wheel pit stop. I would encourage both Mr. Rigney and Mr. Wagner to go watch a mid to late 80s Indianapolis 500 where or Michigan 500 for that matter, where they would not change the left front. It was 3 tire pit stops in those days. The bias plies didn't wear out, Sam, and so they wouldn't change the left front for 500 miles unless it was flat spotted for some reason.
Well, I remember back in the early Darlington days that there was a driver that actually outsmarted the rest of the field and won the race based on the fact that he put truck tires on his car instead of normal radials that cars used.
Johnny Mance?
And so he was able to
Johnny Mance,
secure
right?
the win because he was using industrial truck tires that lasted so much longer than everyone else.
Well, and that was the story, right? Whoa, Logan Edwards, big sideways. We're going to get back to the battle for the lead. This is Greg Evans, Kyle Heath. Evans has made it past Heath and has put some distance. There's Dylan Godin, a distant third in the background.
Evans has really found a sweet spot here in the middle line.
Yeah, he has, and I wonder if that has a dual effect of one, preserving his tires, but also it doesn't allow Heath much in the way of clean air, trying to get off the corner.
Yeah, and it also it makes it difficult to make a decision of how you want to make that pass. It really does, because if he's running that middle line, it narrows your options. You really have to dive it in low, ride the bottom line, use a lot of right front tire, or high entry, low exit coming off of the corner, off of 2 or 4, and then even then you start to burn up the right rear. So it does variate some of the decisions that you have to make in order to try and make the passes. You're seeing that the tires are really equalizing, and both these drivers are on 32-second laps, even where they're at. So it's just smart racing to be able to run that particular line. The aero does make a little bit of a factor in come into play, but the majority of it is making the decision of how you are going to be able to make a clean pass.
Yes, it does indeed. There's Greg Evans. He's leading Kyle Heath. We've got 7 laps to go, and it's kind of.
Jason Heaney has cleared Ryan O'Donoghue. Now he's in third, or excuse me, Jason Heaney is a lap down. Jason Heaney is actually a lap down. Yeah, I just saw that.
He came and made an extra pit stop 15 laps ago.
Dylan Godinez is in third now.
Yeah, Godinez has made it past. Well, that happened several laps ago. Godinez has made it past O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue is not under fire from Wasserman in 5th. That's a 5-second differential there. Godinez is a couple of seconds back from this fight. They're going to come up on Corey Crandall here, coming to get 5 to go. You just got to wonder, has Heath dropped back here, cooled him off to try to make one more run, or are the tires on the 13 spent, Sam?
It's a tough call to make. Only Kyle Keith will be able to answer that question. He could very well be allowing the tires to be cooling off, but again, here he's going into 1. He's all the way up at the wall. These are lines that we've just not watched Kyle Heath. Oh, and he brushes the wall in turn 2, loses the car a little bit. That can't be net code. That was definitely contact.
Yeah, that was definitely
it. He's trying all these lines in order to see if he can find some kind of speed.
Yeah, he's given it everything he's got. The issue is the harder you drive it, right? The more you use. The more
well said, Mark.
Yeah, the harder you drive it, the more you use, the slower you go, and it just turns into.
He lost 0.3 that particular lap alone, just from the contact.
Yeah, I mean the harder you drive these cars when they're on old tires, the worse it gets, and it just compounds the issue. And there he goes again, Kyle Heath. The person that we see do that the most, by the way, is a ISRA competitor. I have never seen somebody drive a car harder on old tires than Lionel Callisto. Holy mackerel.
Lionel Callisto, really, he's a standout guy as far as long run and getting the most out of his tires, especially when we were running the ISRA events in the Xfinity and the Truck Series. He was very good at saving tires in these particular
but then if you go back and watch some of those broadcasts, though, Sam, you'll hear me you'll hear me pointing out him dirt tracking the car late in runs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I've seen some glimmers of the same thing in the open wheel series as well with Lionel Callisto. He had a great run going at one of the events, and he and Ken Clendy made contact late in the event, and it cost Lionel a great finish. But I've seen those same spotlights of good tire wear management out of Lionel. And I personally think Lionel's a class act. He's a very nice guy.
yes, he is. I've spent a lot of time in comms with him over various series. White flag in the air for the Deuce, Greg Evans. He's pulled out to a 1 second lead on Kyle Heath. Put the exclamation point, put the bow on the box for Greg Evans. He is going to go through turns 3 and 4. He's going to come down and win what would be his 6th race of the campaign and the final race of the first half. Punch his ticket to the playoffs. There's the checkered flag. Greg Evans in the Deuce. Kyle Heath.
Greg Evans brings it home. What a clinic again. Greg Evans just showing us that he's going to be the guy to beat here in the AMA.
Yes, he is. Everybody else is going to stream through, and it's going to take a few minutes. Such was the length of the,
the
final
rest
run.
of the field. Right.
There goes Greg. He's already in victory lane. Meanwhile, everybody else. There's Michael Moquin coming through Mark Owlette, and we finally have everybody coming through to take the finish. And so for the Stars and Stripes 300 here in the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series, Greg Evans is going to be your winner. Kyle Heath second. Dylan Godness, he'll come home in third. Fourth is going to be Ryan O'Donohue. Great tire strategy from him. And Brian Wasserman, he was around the top 5 all day. I kind of feel bad for Brian. Sam, we didn't call his name a whole lot, but he
well, let's call it out now.
Yeah,
We're calling it out now.
He's going to finish 5th. Lee Campbell, Logan Edwards, Joseph Klein, Rick Fallis in his series debut is 9th. David Dunwoody, last year's winner, comes home in 10th. 11th, Michael Moquin, Jason Heaney is 12th. Brian Sharp, after some early shenanigans, is going to be 13th. Corey Crandall.
What a great comeback by Brian Sharp.
Yes, it was. Corey Crandall, 14th. Mark Owlette, 15th. Nolan Milnes, Sean Merriman, Keith Graham, Kendall Paul, and Justin Osterman round out your top 20. In 21st, how about Donald Green, James Hodgson, 22nd, Michael Kirk, Ted Craven, Braden Langley, all of these cars out of the race, Troy Carricker, Caleb Jones, 27th, Jeffrey Hyatt, and Colby Pierce are going to round out your starting field. 29 cars were entered. Hyatt and Pierce did not take the start. Caleb Jones only made 1 lap. And let's see who we've got in the waiting room. If we've got anybody, Sam.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting to hear some of the conversation about how Greg Evans and Kyle Heath played out the last run after the final pit stops. And of course, Dylan Godnez with a great showing tonight as he kept pace with those drivers for a lot of the last parts of this race. Ryan O'Donohue, the one-armed bandit, just showing us how to race a race car with one arm. Again, he just had surgery last Friday, and this is probably going to make Ryan feel a little bit better considering the end of the race that he had last week. It was so disappointing that he had a not so productive ending after having a good run last week with one arm. But kudos to Ryan O'Donohue. And again, you mentioned Brian Wasserman, who was up front most of the race, and he had a good run in the top 5. Lee Campbell also ran top 10 most of the night. Logan Edwards showed plenty of speed. Joseph Klein led this event. Rick Fallis, just all these drivers have really did a good job of finishing the race on the lead lap.
Yes, they did. Let's bring in Dylan Godnez. Dylan, you've got Mark and Sam in the P1 broadcasting booth. A third tonight, but it's a distant third. What did you have anything for Greg and Kyle, or were they in a different zip code and it was just trying to be the best of the rest?
I mean, I was just glad to be back on the racetrack. Coming back after a 2-week break and not doing much racing, just getting to be out there was fun enough for me. But felt fast the whole time. This was a tires race from start to finish. Protecting the right front tire. Everybody was getting tight off of 4. and off 2 as well. But if the 7 didn't get into us there on that one restart, I really think I could have been up there with him, and I was starting to reel him in at the end, putting a little bit of pressure, but I'm glad to bring it home on the podium.
Dylan, fantastic job tonight, man. You really did show some fantastic speed. I'm just a little curious though. Was the start of the race there? There was the hiccup on the initial start of the event there with Logan Edwards. Did you get some damage, and it just left you with the first 2 stages trying to get a feel for the car again? Because you really turned the wick up on the last stint, because you started making your moves after the stage break. So was there some damage on the car that you had to attend to early on, or was it just a plan that you were just lay back and then push for the final half of the race?
The biggest part of it, I mean, I had a ton of fun. It was lots of good hard racing. I'm sure it was fun to watch. But yeah, beating and banging, using the bumpers, everybody was bouncing off each other. I hate that some collateral had to happen, but that's what's going to happen when we're going 3 wide on older tires in the corner and stuff. But I was playing a little bit of strategy. I feel like y'all could notice we all didn't want to push, right out the gate. So we would kind of just go single file for a little bit, and we all knew what we were doing. We didn't want to pass each other, but the guys who did make their passes first, I mean, they kind of started to fall back. So after that first stage, it kind of showed me how to gauge what I needed to do for tires. Stage 2, I mean, I had to book it. So, because I fell back there probably to 6th at one point, I want to say. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of sandbagging early on, it was just saving tire. I knew I was going to need that tire late in the run, and to avoid a green flag pit stop at all costs was the goal, and I think we did pretty good.
Well, a podium finish proves that your strategy worked to your advantage, and you were plenty fast, and you did a great job tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dylan, for being with us this evening. Congratulations on your podium run, as is the tradition here at P1. Friends, family, sponsors, the floor is yours, my friend. Shout them out.
I just want to thank everybody at DG Motorsports, all my teammates running with me every week. Tony G's Pub and Eatery, Eda Enterprises, Hair by Eliana, and the Carolina Pro Late Model Series. And just saying hi to everybody watching at home. Thank you for the support.
You're absolutely happy to have you here, Dylan. Keep going fast, having fun. Have a great long weekend, my man.
Yeah, I'll see you around.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother.
That is Dylan Godnez. We will change it up one car, and this is the man that finished second. It's Kyle Heath. Kyle, one step short. What could you have done differently to get past Greg, or was it too much there at the end?
It was too much. The only way I could have got really around him was kind of give him the chrome horn, but he was fast. I tried to do a slide job on him in 3 and 4, and I knew it wasn't going to stick, but I was hoping I was going to be able to stay good enough on the high side coming out of 2. But yeah, he dove it in there at 1 and 2, and he was able to have his stick. But that was a nail in the coffin right there. I tried my best. Low lines using my fast lane around here, but trying to run the high line, the middle, I just really didn't have much on it. So,
well, Kyle, once again, just watching you two work so hard around each other and race so clean, it was highly evident that you had a fantastic last pit stop, and you were able to make your stop, get back out, and get a cushion between you and Greg. But I'm sure that you were watching the relative as he was trying to take advantage of cold tires and make up a lot of that ground. What's going through your mind as you begin to what's your strategy as you begin to see he's closing that gap, and how you might be able to maintain ahead of him but also saving tire?
Well, whenever I came out the pits, I really wasn't going to try to push way too hard. I was wanting to save a little bit of tire, But when he came up so darn fast, I was like, well, he's gonna burn his stuff up. But when he basically got in front of me, that was off to the races.
He moved 2 lanes up. Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't do anything. That was basically it. I was hoping that saved enough tire, was able to do something with it, but it wasn't meant to be.
Well,
Just
what's
something
meant
about
to be is you
Charlotte.
guys are putting on a clinic. It was great watching you two race.
Yeah, it was fun. That's for sure. I was wheeling and dealing on that after that last pit stop though. That was the most I fought that wheel all night. To be honest with you.
I was making the observation there in the closing laps that there was nothing you were leaving on the table. You were trying lines up toward the wall. You were trying low entries. You were trying high entries with low exits. You were trying everything to figure out a way to make that pass. It was really masterful to watch and see how you were working the wheel tonight.
Yeah, it was fun. It's just, I was telling Greg in the weight room that, Charlotte, to me, if you run the high line at Charlotte, you should be able to get a little bit more quicker run coming off that high side than what you actually get. It's like it really don't do much justice like some of the other tracks.
With that. I don't disagree with that.
I mean,
maybe with the new scan that we'll see some of that.
Yeah, I mean, there was one lap there I actually went really high, 1 or 2. I'm like, man, this feels good. I'm going to be able to gas it off and at least get a good run, get closer to his bumper. That way I can, show him that I'm actually here. But and all of a sudden it just like a flip of a switch. It just pushed so hard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I just hit the wall. Like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting, use the air, off the wall from my car, to keep it, turn it left. And it just actually went just straight.
That's interesting. There's a small bump up there too, isn't there?
Yeah, in a way. I didn't hit that bump. Most bumps I hit was if you go too far down low on 1 or 2, there's a bad bump down there and it will push your car.
I agree. It upset the car.
Yeah.
Just a great Kyle. I enjoy watching you race, man. You certainly have brought a lot of color to the broadcast for us too. So we appreciate it.
Well, we thank you, Kyle, so much for stopping by. We congratulate you on your second place, my man. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. The floor is yours, and I know you've probably got business to tend to, so we'll let you have at it.
It's already too late for that business, but yeah, I want to thank everybody in my household, especially my wife, for allowing me to do this. I get up under her skin whenever I get on this game and race and have fun. Laugh with my friends and all that. Big shout out to AMA and the broadcast crew out there. Another big shout out to the team out there at FGR. We had ups and downs throughout the whole team, but other than that, I think we fared out pretty good.
Well, I tell you what, you definitely keep running up front. You're going fast. You're having a good time. That's the main thing. We also would like to extend a shout out to your wife for letting you do this. And Kyle, we will see you at the next one, my man.
Yes, sir.
That is Kyle Heath. He is going to be the second place finisher tonight. And for your winner, we're going to bring in Greg Evans. I'm just going to let Sam talk to Greg because they know each other pretty doggone well. Congratulations, Greg. Sam, take it away.
Greg, congratulations on another fantastic win. I know that you don't take these things lightly, even though that you've had several wins. There are quite a few wins this year, and you've proven to be the class of the field in many regards. But tonight, Kyle Heath showed up, and he pushed you to your limit. But I also noticed in the race, Greg, how there was a lot of testing and a lot of measuring going on tonight by you. There were times that you would let people go, times that you pushed the car. Can you just give us a little insight about how you handled the race tonight?
Yeah, it was a hard fought battle, man. Me and Kyle felt like we just threw haymakers, pretty much all race. He got behind me and tried to pressure me a little bit, and I finally was just like, I'm just gonna lay back for a little bit, see what happens. And there was a couple guys that were up there with us, and they were just pushing a little bit harder than what I wanted to. I knew Kyle was saving too, and man, it was just a hard fought battle. Me and Kyle, I think we both drove our butts off tonight. So I'm sweating. I'm sure he's sweating. Maybe not since he had to pee during the race. I told him, I said, man, you're gonna pee before the race from now on. Like, I want to battle you whole. But I told him, I said, I knew he's gonna get back up there eventually. He was up in, I think, third after the second stage, and man, just man, what a battle! It's always I guess more gratifying in a way, and whenever you got somebody who really pushes you all race
pushes
long.
you, yeah, and
Yeah,
pushes
and
you.
I know he was, while we're racing, we're not just racing each other, we're thinking, what can I do here? What can I do there? Moving around, trying different things. Man, it was, God, I really
I'd actually made that comment during the race that I felt like that there's, when you have two drivers that are so close in their driving skill and their abilities, that it is a time to learn from each other and learn each other's strengths and weaknesses, and trying to make sure that you can not just think that you're better, but actually learn from your competitor or how you can be better. And I think that both of you push each other to that kind of level, just watching how you race. I do have one other question that I wanted to ask you, Greg. As the race was unfolding, we had a lot of green flag laps tonight, and a lot, of course, racing from front to the back of the field. But on the last pit stops, Kyle Heath makes an incredible pit stop, and he is able to make up a lot of ground on you because you come in immediately on the next lap. But when you come out of the pits, he has already cleared you comfortably by the time you get up to race speed by over a second. So can you just give us a little insight of what's going through your mind, knowing that you have to make up a second and still be able to save tire?
honestly, I felt like I had to do it in the first 5 or 10 laps on those new tires. Cause whenever you wore the tires out, man, you were just slipping and sliding. And I felt like I didn't really want to push the car that hard, but I felt like I had to have clean air. On the first run, he was out in front of me, and I felt like I was quicker on the long run, but I just couldn't do anything. So I pushed a little bit harder to get by him, and we kind of equalized until we caught the 14, and then he started putting some pressure on. I think he saved a little more tire than I did. But I knew that he was a lot better in 3 and 4, and I couldn't get all 4. I felt like I was better in 1 and 2, so I felt like I had to do something different in 3 and 4, and that's when I started messing with the high line a little bit.
Moving to the middle line.
Yeah, I had tried it before in the race. I could hold him off, but I didn't know if it would be able to do it again. But man, as soon as I moved up there, I think he was really trying to push to get in front of me. He did a slide job one time, and I got him back for it. And
yeah, he mentioned that in his interview.
Oh man, I'm telling you, that was a lot of fun. If I'd have finished second, I'd been pissed. But at the end of the day, I'd have been like, that was a heck of a run.
Well, it's really refreshing to hear both of you drivers saying the same thing. Is that after a hard fought race like that, 200 laps at Charlotte Motor Speedway, 300 miles. After all that time in the seat, that both of you drivers have come into your interviews and you talked about how much fun you had. And I'm very refreshed to hear that come from two drivers that are as competitive and as fast as you two guys are. And even Dylan Godinez talked about what a great time that he had in this event.
Yeah, man, it was, like I said, it was just a lot of fun. I mean, yeah, it's more fun whenever you win. But like I said, if I'd have finished second, yeah, I'd have been mad. But I could look back at it and been like, man, that was a heck of a race.
A learning experience, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, when I moved to the second line, it was just like I could hold him off, and he couldn't really get a run off of 3 and 4, and that's when I started to kind of inch it out a little bit there at the end.
Yeah, taking that middle line was definitely an instance where you cut down his choices of how he might be able to make a pass or not make a pass. So it was just brilliant driving, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Greg, honestly, you left us speechless again, and so tonight, as usually is our custom here at P1 Broadcasting, you have won this event, this 300-miler at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and the floor is yours. Any shout-outs to sponsors, friends, family?
Yeah, absolutely. Like now, got to give a huge shout-out to Sim Magic.
Sim Magic.
Oh, yeah. And I've seen a couple other guys tonight had Sim Magic on their car, and I'm thinking, maybe this is rubbing off a little bit,
Maybe they're just copying Greg Evans.
Got to thank Sim Magic, man. Sim Shop, Sim Labs for the chassis. I hope everybody, I know we're getting ready to go for Memorial Day, and hope everybody has a safe and happy Memorial Day, and think about those who sacrificed everything. While you're able to celebrate your freedom. And like I said, just thank you guys again for broadcasting it. Like I said, I'm gonna get to go back tonight and tomorrow and kind of look back at it and hopefully have a lot of viewers, and thank AMA again for hosting everything and running a great league.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for stopping in, Greg. Sam and I, as always, enjoy watching you. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, Greg.
That is Greg Evans. He is your winner tonight. And Sam,
we survived 300 miles with the AMA Xfinity Grand National Series. Black Magic Studios knows how to put on a show with these guys.
We did, and we made it. And guess what, Sam? We get to come back and do it again tomorrow night. So
no way.
Yeah, so we're going to have a 200-miler with the Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. It's going to be the same time tomorrow, 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start. Sam, I'm ready for it, my man. It's going to be.
Oh, why would you be ready for it?
We've got a great kickoff to Memorial Day weekend. But it's just like Greg said. Let's not forget what this weekend is really for. It's not just about two huge car races in Indianapolis and Charlotte. It's really about the men and the women who made the ultimate sacrifice so that we are free to attend those car races and do so in peace and with the knowledge that we are free. And so we thank all of the men and women and their families who made the ultimate sacrifice, and we thank those who continue to sacrifice: the police, the fire, the active duty military, the teachers, the nurses, all of the people that do all the hard jobs so that we can be safe and educated and understand that we live in the greatest land on the planet. Sam, take your belts off, brother. Let's have a
yeah, let's loosen them up at least for 24 hours and catch our breath from this great race. And we'll see you tomorrow night right back here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Heck yeah, we will. Good night, everybody.
Good night.